Well, there's a look at Baycare Ballpark, Clearwater, Florida. Man, 78 degrees, sunny, wind blowing out to a perfect day for baseball down in Clearwater. Phillies, Tigers coming your way on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus. Welcome in, and no, I am not Tom McCarthy. Tom is off today. It's an all-player show today. How you guys feeling? Pretty good. First of all, we're going to go to Ruben tomorrow, and the one thing that I want to do, Ruben, we have to talk about the center field position. What do you think?
Yeah, no question. One of the biggest questions coming into camp is who is going to be the everyday center fielder. It's a five-man competition. First guy, Adam Hazley, probably one of the front runners, gets hurts his groin. He's probably not going to be ready for opening day. That takes us to Roman Quinn and Scott Kingery. Neither one of those guys have really swung the bat consistently enough to take that job. That again takes us to Odubel Herrera and Mickey Moniak. Now, Odubel Herrera has been swinging the bat very, very well. He's been doing a lot of different things well. He's got a couple strikes against him because he hasn't played in about a year and a half, and he's got that domestic violence issue. But he has done a lot of good things, even got a bunt base hit this spring as well. That takes us to Mickey Moniak. He is a prospect, and he can swing in the bat. He's feeling comfortable. He's driving the ball out of the ballpark, but he's a prospect, and I don't think he's ready to take this job. It'll be a really interesting competition, and these last 2 weeks are going to be pretty darn exciting. This is the time that Joe Girardi and company are going to be evaluating these guys, and in today's game, three of them are going to be playing head-to-head. It'll be real interesting.
And that's one battle. Number two, I have to bring in Ben Davis for. The other battle, the closer's position. Ben, what do you think?
Well, what do you want out of your closer? You want a guy to get 3 outs the most efficient way possible. 1, 2, 3. How quickly can you get 3 outs? And what guy does that for Joe Girardi? Is it Archie Bradley? Is it Hector Neris? In my opinion, Hector Neris is more of a guy that's a matchup guy. Archie Bradley's had a pretty decent spring, although the velocity is a bit down. The overhand curveball has been very good for Archie, but I would like to see that velocity number come up. Not that velocity is everything, but it does help. Hector Neris, he's kind of, in my opinion, he's more of a matchup guy for the simple fact that he loves his splitter. It's his go-to pitch. He has added a slider this year in spring training, but if that splitter is not working, what else does he have in his arsenal? And that's yet to be determined. But Archie Bradley, last couple of years, he's been pretty darn good. 2.95 ERA as opposed to Hector Neris' 3.39 ERA. So we'll see what happens, how this plays out. In my opinion, I think Archie Bradley really has the inside edge to get this closer's role. Hector Neris has done a great job for the Phillies, but we'll see what happens.
It's a great battle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you could ask for. 2 weeks left in spring training. That's exactly what you want. Coming up next on this beautiful St. Patrick's Day, Phillies Tigers on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus.
guy's on fire.
Yeah, he's really bringing the heat.
You know what else is sizzling hot?
The new Terrific 10 scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery with top prizes of $250,000.
Welcome back. Tigers, Phillies getting ready to go out at Baycare Ballpark in Clearwater, Florida. There you see the conditions. A beautiful day. Are you kidding me? 78 degrees down in Clearwater, Florida. Wow. I mean, happy St. Patrick's Day down there to everybody, and to everybody out there. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's get to today's starting lineup. Today's starting lineup for the Detroit Tigers is brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia. In left field, it'll be Robbie Grossman leading off. Jamer Candelario batting second. He's at first base. Willie Castro will bat third and play shortstop. Renato Nunez, the DH. Jonathan Scope will play third base. Nomar Mazara, the right fielder. Wilson Ramos, the bull, Wilson Ramos. Harold Castro at second base. And then Jacoby Jones will be in center field. I'm Ricky Batalico. I welcome in Ruben Amaro. I welcome in Ben Davis. How you guys doing?
St. Patty's Day. It's good to be here.
Happy St. Patty's Day, guys.
It's a fine day indeed.
It's a beauty, isn't it? There you see Zach Wheeler's numbers: 0-1, 6-4-8, 3 games in spring training. What are we looking for today, Ben?
Fastball command, first and foremost. He's got a big arm. It's free and easy, but got to locate. You see there's that ERA up a bit. But just looking for that good fastball command. In, out, up, down.
He said he's been having a little bit of problem with some mechanics. Any thoughts, either of you two?
You know, I've seen him pitch in New York, Ricky, and you know, for power guys, it's really about getting their bodies together. They're, you know, getting their mechanics. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer in spring training, and he's a big guy, big, long, lanky guy, and so it may take him a little bit longer, but I fully expect him to get right back on track here.
Yeah, it seems as though most of the guys on the staff right now are having issues, I guess, location-wise with their fastballs, not necessarily speed-wise.
Yeah, Aaron Nola struggled a little bit yesterday, and we know what to expect out of Aaron. I think Aaron, you know, he's going to be a lot more fine than he was yesterday, but sometimes it's the last thing that to come for a lot of these guys.
Seems like Wheeler's coming out with a pretty good fastball today, though. Good
Without a
location.
doubt. And you look at his windup, you think, how could he have some mechanical issues? Because his delivery is so straightforward. It's a little jab step up with his left leg and down. There's not a whole lot of wasted motion there.
Yeah, but have you seen my golf game?
See, that's probably more what he's talking about is his finish. I mean, that's obviously a breaking ball, but he's finishing. Sometimes you can finish too hard. You know, you come down on the baseball a little too hard, and that's all about a feel. 2-2 to Grossman. See, that ball's still got some hair on it.
Oh, he's got plenty of life. There's no question. He's got one of the best fastballs in all baseball, particularly for a starter. I think he averaged, what, second or third in all of baseball in average velocity last year.
Base hit. Well, I mean, you know, you look at where that pitch was. It sounded like it may have been a broken bat. Not really sure, but ends up a base hit. But the thing is, getting into those counts. You want to stay out of those counts. This is a guy that last year we never saw him get into those counts. This is just a fastball, a little bit of movement, not too much. Obviously, you get the bat on the baseball, anything can happen. Base hit.
You just don't like to see it. Whether it's spring training or not, you got a guy down 1-2. You know, someone like a Zach Wheeler should be able to put him away, and that's what spring training's for.
Spring training, beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You knew this was coming. See, that to me is paint. What, you know, And a perfect example of something like this is, I mean, Ruben, you played with him. Kurt Schilling. I know a lot of people, whatever. The guy could pitch. There was no doubt about it. But a lot of his first 3 innings, first time through the order, were always all fastballs.
Yeah, and he's such a clean delivery. Ben talked about Wheeler's delivery, but I mean, that's the thing. It's about the consistency of your delivery and your release point. And if you can do that consistently, you're going to be able to throw better strikes and more quality strikes.
Jamer Candelario. Oh, one. That's not bad. You know, that's a breaking ball, but that looks to me like more of a get me over breaking ball. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, it didn't have tremendous bite on it, but
it's just late.
Yeah, it's just late. Ricky, did you always find that the off-speed pitches were the ones that came around the latest in spring training?
You know what? My curveball. Here's what I could get to. In spring training, and this is one thing I want to bring up with both of you guys as we go on in the game. Spring training was an issue for me, especially when I knew I already made the team. It was a big-time issue to me because I would come in, I was a high 90s guy, and the one thing is you can't get to that speed at home. It takes time for you to get to the speed that you want to be. And for me, the beginning of spring training, I might as well have just been throwing batting practice the first 5 or 6 games I was in.
Yeah, I always felt like the power pitchers, it took them much longer to really get the finish on their fastballs. I mean, guys like Papelbon and the guys who could really throw, Billy Wagner's, those guys could really fire. Yourself. To me, you guys needed that juice, right? You need that juice at the end of the game. That's, you know, you get closer and closer towards the end of spring training, and then the crowd starts getting into it. That's when you guys really started to fire.
Yeah, I was always the third deck guy. I enjoyed when the third deck and the lights came on. I think I started disliking day games because of spring training. I did. I felt like I was back in spring training and I was going to get my bell rung that day. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you'll see a lot of guys who are hard throwers who get to a position where they might get to that number. Let's say your number is 96 miles an hour. You might get to that number, but it's a flat 96. And that's what that next week does, is it gets you that finish on the baseball at the end. And usually about this time, though, is when it starts to click together. See, that's good. That's a good pitch to me. That's a good 0-2 pitch. Outside corner. One, two, already 11 pitches with nobody out in the first. Probably hoping to see him, what, 4 or 5 innings here?
I would say 4.
Hoping.
Hoping for 4.
That's a heck of a tag by Luke Williams. Throw down to second, skips, picked up, nice tag. 1 away, that's easy. That'll cut your pitch count down.
Absolutely. And it's something that, you know, Juan Castro has these guys working on. The middle infielders on these pick plays. We saw Alec Bohm do it the other day. Now Mathis has plenty of time.
They short opt him too.
Yeah. Not an easy play.
A really nice job by Mathis of actually coming up with that. That backhand pick. You know, typically you want to try to block that, but he's got really good hands. He made a pretty darn good play.
Hey, Ben, you were talking about, look at this, 0-2, 3-2.
Yep.
Wheeler's got to get that finishing pitch down. Does that concern you, Ruben? I mean, you see Mathis setting up away on the outside part of the plate, knee high, and then a ball comes in hand high on the inside part.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of it's a little small mechanical. He's been talking about it, you know, a little small mechanical movement that he's not quite getting to, and I think at some point he's going to get there. Thankfully, we're in spring training. That's why we're here.
And watching what he's doing right now, it seems as though with no strikes, he's throwing that paint pitch. And then after that, he can't seem to find that same pitch again. 3-2 count, 15 pitches in, 1 out. There's a ground ball over to Bohm. Throws him out at first base. Citizen Stats Leaders. It's now time for our Citizen Stats Leaders, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Phillies. There you see NL ERA leaders last year. Look who's there. Zach Wheeler, 2.92. Some big names on that list, guys.
Some good ones there.
Some pretty good names. How about Bauer, 173? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch Jacob deGrom throw yesterday, and he was just absolutely lights out. I think he's averaging something like 2 strikeouts an inning right now in spring training. I'll tell you what, this, particularly in the NL East, boy, we've got some starting pitchers.
Whew, you think? It's going to be a battle, guys.
I saw Max Scherzer the other day, 4 innings, 7 strikeouts.
1-0 pitch, got way too much on the plate right there. Down and into a lefty, a little dangerous, Ruben.
Yeah, that's in kind of the love zone for the left-handers, and you know Willie Castro has really been swinging the bat. I mean, he's among the league leaders in almost every single offensive category here in the Grapefruit League. He gets a fastball right down and in, he jumps all over it. Actually, it's a pretty darn good play by Odubel Herrera right there, not trying to make this catch, because if he tries to dive and make the catch with 2 outs, got a chance to be an extra base hit and let the batter runner get to second base or in a scoring position. So he stayed back, took it on 1 hop, and then kept the batter runner off of
Renato Nunez, batter for the Tigers. He's DHing in this one.
The first righty that Zach Wheeler gets to see.
Sometimes you say thank goodness on that.
Yeah.
Good fastball. Go right at him.
Yeah, they have 3 switch hitters at the top of their lineup. It's pretty versatile.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
And this does actually look pretty close to their opening day lineup. I guess, save for Miguel Cabrera being in the lineup.
That a little strange from Lakeland coming over like that. I know it doesn't seem like much when we're sitting up in Philadelphia, but that's a bit of a ride for veterans, though.
No, they don't have a lot of veterans. Just a couple of them.
Uh-oh. Work going on in the bullpen already.
Well, this is one of those situations where you don't want to get him to get his pitch counts up too high, and then they can shut him down and let him finish it off.
Good jam shot right there to second base, and retires the side. Well, we'll be back with the Phillies starting to get a whack at the ball right after this. And happy St. Patty's Day. Clearwater, Florida. Beautiful day for baseball. There you see. Phillies is brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia. There you see Roman Quinn leading off. Scott Kingery, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm in the cleanup spot. Odubel Herrera, Luke Williams, Derek Hall, Ronald Torreyes, and Jeff Mathis. Ruben, your thoughts on the lineup?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I get that those three outfielders going head-to-head, and they're going to try to figure out who's going to be their center fielder every day, and that's still the big question mark. There's, you know, someone's going to have to step up and do this job, and they're going to get the opportunities to swing the bat and show Joe Girardi what they can do.
Tariq Skubal.
Yeah, really good arm. He's probably their number 3 or number 4 prospect. One of the things that Detroit has started to develop is starting pitching. We saw Casey Mize the other day, and now Tariq Skubal. He's got a 4-pitch mix, big arm, overpowering fastball, big deceptive leg kick. He's working on his secondary pitches. Had a little bit of a struggle last year, his first year in the major leagues, but he's got a big-time hammer, anywhere from 80 to 84 on his hammer, that breaking ball there. He does throw a changeup, and he also throws a slider. So he's a 4-pitch mix guy, but it's really about him being able to hone down his secondary pitches.
That was pretty impressive. Went with a fastball in off the plate and then dropped one from 12 to 6.
Yeah, and then he spins one up there like that, and that's the difference. He hasn't been able to do that consistently, and when he can, he's got a chance to be a good one.
2-2 count to Roman Quinn. Just held back. Full count. This is what you want to see from Roman, right?
Yes.
Full counts, deep counts.
And then put the ball in play.
And run.
That's it.
Pretty good ball to put in play there. It might have been the best pitch he's seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, center cut fastball, but you see him kind of dip underneath it and try to drive the ball out of the ballpark, and that should not be his game necessarily. And listen, every once in a while he should drive a ball into the gap. But
I have a weird feeling we're going to get to that when the next hitter steps up. Foul ball. Still a 3-2 count. Yeah, oddly enough, you brought it up a little bit in the open. Roman Quinn, Scott Kingery, Odubel Herrera, all in the lineup.
yeah, I mean, this is.
I'm going to get to the GM question in a minute. Popped up left side. You always, this is a you never know anyways, isn't it, in Clearwater? Ball goes up in the air, you never know. Roman Quinn goes down on a pop-up to short.
It's
Still an 8-pitch at bat.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you check off a box, right?
Right.
Except he did hit the ball in the air, and it was a changeup right down the middle, and you just see him work up underneath the baseball. And while it was a decent at bat, he still did not put the ball in play on a line.
There you see Kingery's numbers. Good or bad, they're kind of mirroring last season.
And
I know it is the spring.
You know what? He's a much better ball player than this, and I think everybody knows it. And I think it's one of those situations where he is now trying to make some adjustments in his swing, and still trying to make this club and be the everyday center fielder. That's not an easy thing to do.
Well, to both of you, we know a few years back, he had that complete uppercut swing. Should never have been for him, at least in my opinion. You guys, any thoughts on that? And how hard it is to get back to level?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Hard. He's swinging. In my opinion, it's too hard of a swing. It's not the short, concise swing we saw in spring training that enabled him to make the club a couple years ago. It's a completely different swing. It's not as quick. It's not as efficient.
Now he's worked the count to 2-2. So I mean, you're seeing some good, at least from the first 2 hitters. You know, a 3-2 count with Roman Quinn, and now a 2-2 count for Scott Kingery.
It's become a little bit of the trademark of the club. You know, the guys have really been grinding out at bats generally pretty well.
Big strikeout, big fastball there, blew it by Kingery.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Skubal can do. He has like you said, he's got a very good fastball. It's got great life. Up and in, runs up and in on Kingery. It's tough for him to get to that ball, particularly if you work it underneath the baseball.
Now, you just said good finish on the ball. I want you to explain from a hitter's look at things. Is that ball jumping on you when they have good finish instead of the ball being flat?
Well, Ben was a hitter. I wasn't.
That's true, Ben.
No, it definitely. Some guys just have different finish on their pitches. I mean, whether you're throwing, I mean, I've gotten blown away by a 92-mile-an-hour fastball just because the way the ball, the way that you perceive the baseball, you know, coming into you, and it's, you know, Skubal's got that it's a whole different animal. I think he hides the ball really well, and that was a perfect location to Scott Kingery. But you know,
how much, you guys being in the booth, how much would you love this guy on your team?
Oh, no.
Get it and go.
I'm wondering how he was in the 9th round out of Seattle University. That's what I want to know.
That's probably how it came out of Seattle University.
Is that really a school?
Apparently. He was there for 3 years.
Okay. Here's Harps.
And he's listed at 6'3", 215, but I just think, you know, this delivery, I'm liking it. I like the way the ball comes out of his hand.
He really finishes out front.
Kind of reminds me of Scott Kazmir, if you guys remember, with that leg lift, and then it's pretty deceptive. And the problem with that leg lift, though, is that you got to get your body back into a position to be able to throw that strike, you know, consistently, that arm slot. So while there is some deception to that, he's also got to be able to master it so that he's throwing his breaking pitches and his fastball to the right spot.
I think this guy right here has got to become a huge key to the Phillies this year. The key, if you will. And a fastball right down the middle, froze him for strike 3. The Phillies, no runs on no hits. Couple strikeouts. Tigers coming back up.
Celebrate the St. Patrick's Day holiday and show off your Phillies fandom with the 2000 crisp green Phillies Bell logo on the front for an added touch of luck on game day. Originally retailing for $32, the cap is available at a special price of $15 today through Saturday, March 20th. Visit the New Era Phillies team store located at Citizens Bank Park to purchase yours today.
No chance of me to be able to do that. Wow.
Jonathan Scope, the hitter, third baseman for the Detroit Tigers. Ruben, as you said, I mean, the Tigers brought in more or less their starting lineup. What do you see from this ball club?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a club that really struggled last year, but you know, they brought Scope back. It's interesting to see him play third base. He did play some third base in the Baltimore Orioles organization. He's been known to be a second baseman, but he has bounced around a little bit. You know, it's a club that's rebuilding, and they're trying to make their mark. And I think one of the things that they're trying to rebuild with is A.J. Hinch and a new staff, and you know, they're trying to take it to the next level now. They do have to get some of those young players. They have to get to the big leagues and be their core players. Otherwise, that rebuild's it's going to go for naught.
Yeah, there's a 1-2 pitch. Quick out for Zach Wheeler. Nice play over there by Alec Bohm. 5-3 on the putout. If you're keeping score at home. I always wanted to say that. If you're keeping score at home. Nomar Mazara for the Detroit Tigers. He wastes no time. Ground ball over to short.
Man, is that
easy out, 2 away.
Thing of beauty. A thing of beauty.
Luke Williams on the play. Luke's made a couple good plays already in this game.
Well, Luke's a really versatile type of a player. You know, he's a pretty darn good athlete. There's some people who think that he's one of the best athletes on the field now. This is a really good fastball, lively fastball in on Mazara, and
made a mistake by trying to hit it the other way. Oh, look who's here. Wilson Ramos.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Almost just called him the Bull. Luzinski wouldn't be too happy with me. We call him the Bison.
Looks like he's in great shape.
You know what?
He really
looks
does.
like he's trimmed down.
That's a good tight slider there by Zach.
Yeah, a lot more efficient with his stuff right now. I mean, he is painting this inning.
That was a really good tight slider. Started a little bit away and went further away. 0-2 pitch.
Bounce it.
Down goes Ramos. Little bit of filth mixed in there. In the second by Wheeler, a much better inning. So there you have it. Still no score after 1.5. Every day on our website, Corey Seidman addresses some of the biggest questions facing the closeout games. Check it out only on NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. Sides getting the call. Sides. Ben, didn't you just talk about the closer's role?
I did.
Here's Alec Boehm. Always excited. This guy excites me. I love the way he swings, about how he goes about his business.
His approach.
This guy just looks like his ball's sneaking up on everybody.
Yeah, it does. It does. But Boehm's approach is just, he never wavers from it. That's what I like the most about him.
Do you feel like base hit up the middle? Nice piece of hitting right there. That's what you're talking about, staying inside of the baseball until they make that big mistake. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 1-0 count, right? So you're thinking Scooble's going to challenge me, right? I'm going to come out of my shoes and try and launch one over the tiki bar. It's a 1-0 changeup. It's not a terrible pitch by Scooble, but this approach enables him to stay back on it and stay through the baseball.
See how he just trusts his hands. Stays back, trusts his hands, drives the ball up the middle. That is about as simple as it gets, am I right?
Exactly right. I mean, if I have a 1-0 count to lead off the inning in spring training, I'm thinking I'm going up top, right?
Launch.
I'm launching the ball.
Launch a lot.
But, you know, that's what makes him so good.
Odubel takes strike one. I can't even imagine being a lefty up against this guy.
And it's interesting, you know, Odubel's faced a lot of lefties. Joe Girardi talked about it before. He's had so many lefties he's faced, probably way more than he might face during the course of the season, but it's a really good test for him.
I would say this is a very, very good test. It's got, I mean, if you think about it, Skubal has he's got the fastball going on both sides of the plate. And, I mean, when he stays on top of that curveball, it's a disappearing act.
No, he's got a great bite to his curveball. It's got good rotation. It's really a matter of him being able to throw those pitches, those secondary pitches for strikes. And if he can get there and throw them enough for strikes, then he's got a chance to be a big-time winner.
That's what do you do there? I mean, you're fooled already. I guess he does the right thing, tries to check up. But I mean, this just goes to show that he's hiding the baseball very well.
Well, you have to respect the 95 that he's thrown up there. Right. So maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get started a little bit sooner. And then all of a sudden you start moving at the baseball. You start moving towards the pitcher. Then you don't read spin, and that's the result. You swing over top.
Still stays on the fastball, too.
Well, I don't think Odubel's seen a fastball he doesn't like. So.
Yeah, that's true, too.
He's on the fastball. There's no question about it. But, you know, now he's in two-strike mode, and he's going to try to put the ball in play.
1-2 count. I mean, a lot of guys will go in defensive mode. I think he was looking for fastball and took a whack at a fastball. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but that's exactly what you just said. Hasn't seen a fastball he doesn't like.
And as I said, I mean, he's trying to protect here and trying to make sure that he doesn't get beat by a fastball. But you know, these are great tests when he's facing guys with power stuff from the left side. This is no easy task.
That's just a really good break.
Yeah, it sure is, and that's a very, very nice job of base running by Alec Boehm. He sees the ball in the dirt. He immediately reacts to it. Very good breaking ball right here, and Odubel swings over the top of it. But nice job by Alec Boehm. And this is stuff that, you know, Paco, I'm sure, has been Paco Figueroa has been working on these guys. Look at me, he reads the ball in the dirt.
Very well.
Great secondary. That's the kind of stuff you love to see in spring training, and that's the kind of stuff that sets the tone for your club.
Now that's why Alec Boehm is so well liked and so well respected, because plays. That was interesting if he was out of the box. I mean, Joe Girardi obviously wants people to run the bases correctly. He's talked about it, and then you see a guy like Boehm, a young buck, doing it right.
Well, you also have to go along with the pitcher. Okay, so Odubel just saw 2 fastballs up in the zone. So most likely he's probably going to go back to that curveball. You anticipate that pitch to be in the dirt, exactly where it was, and he was able to get good secondary and get to second.
And Paco's in his ear right there, and he's saying to Alec Boehm while he's on first base, hey, be ready for the breaking ball in the dirt. This is a good time for it. And putting that in his mind just gets him ready to do exactly what he did. He had perfect technique on it.
Good pitch. This guy, I'll tell you what, he's a little bit old school in the sense that he's not afraid to throw inside. You know, we don't see a lot of that around the big leagues anymore. Of course, I'm saying that.
No, he does like his fastball, and that's one of the things he's kind of used a lot. He's had to rely on it, and that's I guess one of the knocks on him, because he just hasn't been able to utilize those secondary pitches. In other words, when he's behind in the count, you see a lot of pitchers these days just flipping in a little breaking ball, a little slider just to get back even. He has not mastered that quite yet. He's got a chance to do that, and if he does, then that 2-strike breaking pitch, then he can do anything he wants with it.
A couple good lefties over there. Boyd. I mean, they got Boyd over there, and they got this guy. That's future written on it, isn't it?
No, they got some. I mean, they do have some pitching. There's no question about it. It's just a matter of, you know, them being able to. I mean, they had one of the worst rotations in all of baseball last year, and they're certainly counting on guys like Skubal and Mize and others to step up. Manning as well.
And that's a good park to pitch in. Man alive.
Oh, it sure is.
Big boy.
3-1 changeup.
That's a big boy. That's a good at bat. Put himself in a little bit of a hole, having to try to bunt, foul it off. Ends up putting himself on base. That's what it's all about.
pitch doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And Ben said it. I mean, you got a guy who is not an established major leaguer, and he's throwing 3-1 changeups. And I mean, I know he's probably trying to work on those things and the things that he's trying to do, but he's got to be able to throw a strike right there.
Ruben, I agree with exactly what you're saying, but isn't that where limitations come into play? Know your limitations.
Know thyself.
Right.
A la Charlie Manuel.
Yeah.
Biggest part of the game, isn't it? Trying to know yourself, and there's reestablishing yourself at times. But I mean, if you're out there trying to throw a 3-1 changeup, maybe you just thought, I have an open base, I'm just going to mess with it. That's the only thing I can think of there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got 95 in the tank. I'm going to take my chances.
I'm right with you. That's my whole point. I mean, it's a little aggravating watching a guy with this type of arm say, "Oh, I got to go to a changeup on a 3-1 pitch." To me, you're starting to think like overthink things. Oh, I have to throw a changeup here because they're going to be sitting on my fastball. No,
the art of pitching, Ricky, has kind of gone away. We're talking about a huge series of throwers in this day and age, and guys are just not. They're not trained to pitch, and in a lot of ways, I mean, there's a detriment to having these guys with such great arms because they feel like they can blow the ball right past people. And the reality of it is, major league hitters, they do not swing at balls generally. They swing at strikes, and if you don't throw strikes consistently, it's still going to put you in a tough spot.
no doubt about it. 2-1. That's a gimme. Call it a gimme.
Definitely not a pitcher you're going to do a whole lot with.
So I give it a gimme. It's like a 3-0 fastball. It's not really a strike, but it's a gimme. I'll give it to you.
I like to tell the umpires, yeah, I really can't hit that pitch.
But you think about it, you go from a 3-1 count, which it should be, to a 2-2 count.
Yeah.
It's
and then now you're sitting down. But I got to tell you, we're seeing 94, 95. To me, this ball's exploding out of this guy's hand. I don't know if it's just because it's a left-hander and it's jumping a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it's free and easy. I think he definitely hides it well, like you said, Ricky. And you got to respect the curveball. And you're probably thinking if you're Derek Hall there, saying, well, he just struck out Odubel with a curveball. I'm probably going to get the same thing. And there's no way you can react to that and adjust to 95.
Here's Ronald Torreyes, former Yank.
Another guy who loves that fastball. He can jump on a fastball.
What was the old saying? You can't butt your way off the island?
No, you cannot.
Was that? Remember in the minor leagues, those guys used to say all the time, can't butt your way off the island. Oh, one pitch. 37 pitches in, second inning. Phillies are working him at least. Now he's starting to hum it.
It's interesting, Ricky. Did you end up having to did you start to feel like more and more comfortable as you threw more pitches and able to have more velocity, more finishes?
In the spring?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to get the heck out of the inning. There was that changeup you were talking about, by the way, 86 miles an hour, pretty good changeup. But it was kind of funny because the way I thought about it was once I threw that one pitch, it was one pitch in the spring. It could have been, 4 games from the end of spring, but when I let it go, I knew I had it, and that was it. That's all I needed.
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed. But it took a lot of my head getting bashed in every time I went out there, giving up 2 and 3 home runs a game.
97.
I'm telling you, I may have been one of the worst all-time pitchers in the spring. My first 6 years. Fergosi gave me the closer role with a 10 ERA. What is he thinking? Left spring training, lucky to make the team, end up closing. 2-2. There you go, 2-2. That's a fear of your fastball, I think. Or is he just working on trying to throw some off-speed stuff, either even or behind?
Again, he's a guy that's going to have to be able to use his secondary pitches because, even though that fastball can be explosive, he cannot live with that in the major leagues and win games, consistently.
That's just a nasty little cut pitch, isn't it?
It's a changeup.
It cut though.
A little bit.
Can't hit a cutting changeup. Phillies get sat down 3 times. We go to the 3rd. Training baseball, the Tigers. Show today.
That was a long time ago.
What in the world? Where did you get those shots from?
The blind leading the blind.
Yeah, you want to talk about the blind leading the blind? Ben's throwing a 2-seam fastball down to second base in that picture.
Yeah.
Ruben actually looks like he could hit in that picture.
We know that wasn't true.
Oh, man. Zach Wheeler in his 3rd inning. His 2nd inning, much better than his 1st. That's what you want to see in the spring.
Yeah, really crisp with his stuff. Very efficient, throwing strikes with every pitch.
This is Harold Castro, the otro Castro in the lineup.
Yeah, and Harold.
Did that right, didn't I?
Yeah, that's very good.
You didn't even flinch.
Yeah, he's a nice little utility player. A nice year for him. He can play a couple different positions.
That's just a good pitch placement. Head out to left field. Roman Quinn under it. 1 away. That'll bring up Jacoby Jones, the center fielder.
It was high enough where you're not going to do anything with it, but close enough to the strike zone where you had to swing at it. That's why you see where Mathis's mitt is.
It's just a good pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, stayed on the same plane, right?
I mean, you just don't want to just throw a pitch up above his head just to, quote unquote, change his eye level. If it's a ball out of your hand, the pitch does no purpose. It serves no purpose.
Line drive to Odubel with the excuse me.
Hey, he made a nice play, and actually, everything in the air is a venture, but he had a pretty good jump on this ball right here. He hit off the end of the bat a little bit, had a little tailing action down the line, and Odubel makes a nice play.
Well, here's the replay of it. Obviously, yeah, it was hit off with a little bit of a slice. It actually looks like it got held up. Wind is blowing from right to left, so ball might have been hung up a little bit. Odubel with a nice little play. 2 away in the 3rd.
He's actually made a couple of darn good plays this spring, and he's putting himself back on the map. There's no question about that in this competition.
Wheeler's starting to settle in, which to me is great to see, because you want to see him get out there for as many innings as you can right now. He's sitting on what? One more start? 2 more starts.
He'll have a long, more extended start, and then he'll probably back him off.
Back off to about 3 innings, the last one, yeah. That was via him yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's typically what they do with the guys who are definitely going to be in the rotation. Is they'll try to get their pitch count up to somewhere between 80 and 100 pitches in the time before the last start of spring training, and then back them off in the last start.
1-1 by Wheeler. That's a filthy slider.
whatever adjustment he made after the first inning, it's worked.
This almost looks like a split. Wow. Goes straight down.
I think that's a slider. I think it's just a straight down slider. Just a really good pitch. And then tried to finish him upstairs. I think he left that a little bit too much of the plate. Base hit it to right.
Really nice job of hitting by Robbie Grossman. And there's a reason why this guy signed a 2-year deal. I mean, he's really come into his own. He had a pretty good year, I guess, his first couple of years with Minnesota, then goes over to kind of fizzled out a little bit in Minnesota, then goes over to Oakland, has a nice year, and then I tell you what, that's a really good piece of hitting. I mean, just a backdoor slider prior. He swings over.
So, so you change his bat speed, and then you change the eye level, and it still doesn't work for you.
Yeah. You got to give the hitter credit sometimes.
Or blame Ben, since he was a catcher.
I never put down the
There's
wrong finger.
Candelario. Candelario, 2 outs in the third. That ball cut hard.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Sometimes guys just don't get a great feel when they're in the stretch, and this is a kind of a totally different feel sometimes when you're in the windup and when you're in the stretch. So it's good for him to get in the stretch and get that feel and to try to get his mechanics down so that he's making his best pitches when he's in the stretch, because that's when he's going to be in the most trouble.
I guess that's a little bit of a slider again.
A little
hump in it.
Little backdoor cutter. Didn't have as much depth as the other one was that Grossman missed.
But you're right about the stretch. I mean, you'll hear a lot that a guy hasn't let up a base runner in like 5 innings. All of a sudden, the 6th inning, a base runner comes out and the confusion sets in.
It's just a whole different cadence for the pitcher. Now, do I have to speed up now because I have a runner on first? If the guy can run, do I have to go even quicker? I have to go to a slide step.
How do you, as a catcher, try to settle that pitcher into something like that? When you obviously you've seen what he's thrown 3 pitches out of the stretch here in this inning. Every one of the balls is cut.
Yeah, I just tell him, hey, you let me worry about the runner at first. You still have to deliver a quality pitch. Don't set your sights on that guy. Worry about the guy in the box.
It's interesting we talk about pitching out of the stretch. You know, one of the guys who used to make his bullpens basically out of the stretch almost all the time was Greg Maddux. And Greg Maddux, obviously a Hall of Fame pitcher, but he's a guy that knew that he had to be able to execute his pitches in the stretch when there were situations when people were on base.
At the center, Kingery puts it away with no problem. Keep that thought there, Ruben. Well, still no score. Phil's coming back up. It'll be Mathis, then the top of the order. This is a guy that last year we never saw him get into those counts. This is just a fastball, a little bit of movement, not too much. Obviously, you get the bat on the baseball, anything can happen, base hit.
See, whether it's spring training or not, you got a guy down 1-2. You know, someone like Zach Wheeler should be able to put him away, and that's what.
Your local Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local.
Man, 78 degrees, sunny.
Nicely done, Ruben.
Huh?
Not always the easiest one.
No.
Well, we're back, bottom of the third. It'll be Jeff Mathis, the veteran. Ben, your thoughts? Since you were a catcher, you might as well jump in.
Well, he's, made a name for himself. Very solid defensive catcher. He's been in the league a long time. Despite having a sub 200 batting average for his career, he's found a way to stay in the big leagues.
Kind of like a throwback. Those guys who were just good in the clubhouse and good behind the plate.
That's him.
Just like left-handed pitchers, they can hang around for a long, long time.
Yeah, but is that, you know what? Is that the case anymore?
Well, I mean, now that you have to have, there's not really especially lefty anymore with the new rules necessarily. I mean, I think there should be. I don't care for that rule. Where are you guys on that rule?
Didn't bother me because I don't
like
pitch to either side. So and most of the time it wasn't like I was getting pulled for a left-handed pitcher when a left-handed batter came up. And this guy's just letting it go. I think he's lost the strike zone a little bit. Mathis takes his base.
I don't think it speeds the game up hardly at all. I mean,
no.
I really don't think it's had much effect, me personally, and it takes a little bit of the strategy out of the game. I'd rather see managers have the ability to maneuver the game, and it's really about, to me, it's about having guys throw more strikes to move the game along.
How about what happened this year with the DH, Ruben? As a GM, what would you be saying to yourself?
Well, the problem
I was trying to build with a DH, now I'm not.
Yeah, that's a very, very different situation. I mean, to me, it's a situation where I think it should be a level playing field, or at least the players should know. And organization should know exactly how to build their team, and it's still a possibility that they could have the DH this year. I mean, I don't think they've cut off the negotiation yet.
Well, it seems as though they're getting. I mean, Aaron Nola swinging the bat yesterday, right?
Yeah. No, I think they have to prepare for it, right? They have absolutely have to prepare for it.
You could hear some people, I hope that's the crowd, if you guys didn't just see that on the first pitch.
No, that was the coaching staff.
I think that's Joe chirping a little bit. He wasn't very happy with that high ball.
I love when people get fired up. You know what the worst, a lot of people used to say this about the vet. When the vet wasn't very crowded, that's when you heard everybody.
You could hear everything.
You heard people from the upper decks whispering. That looks like a pretty good pitch to me.
And that was a makeup, I think. Scuba asking Ramon de Jesus where that was.
You would have thought that that ball crossed the plate at some point during the course of its playing.
Yeah.
The umpires, James Hoy is at first base. Ryan Wills is at second. Crew chief Phil Cuzzy at third. And as the aforementioned Ramon de Jesus behind the plate. You like I used aforementioned?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
not
a multi-syllabic word there, Ricky.
Not as dumb as I seem, guys.
Well,
Man, how nice would it be to be down there right now? Beautiful weather. The greens on the golf course are probably perfect right now, right, guys?
Pretty clear that Roman's trying to move this runner. It's 4 straight or 5 straight attempts at bunting the guy over right there.
Up to. Download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stats, leaderboards, and more for your Phillies and the rest of the league. I stuttered on that one, guys. Yeah, a lot of things changing over at Citizens Bank Park, and how to get things, you got to go to the app.
Cannot wait to get back at the ballpark, and it looks like they're going to be opening things up on April 4th, right? Even after, at least that's what I understand. And now we're going to be able to go to maybe 50%.
50%. We're looking at 22,000. That's a nice, and let's face it.
It's a nice round number.
And it's Scott Kingery, getting into some important at-bats, by the way. Yeah, it is a round number. But think about, these fans have not been to a ball game.
No.
In how long? Over a year plus. It's going to sound like 60,000 people in that place.
And they are ravenous to get there. I mean,
by the way, I just got goosebumps. I'm a little fired up for it.
You talk to anybody around town, we cannot wait to get back to the ballpark. We cannot wait. We cannot wait. And it's going to be great to see them there, and the players are really going to feed off that.
King squaring the bunt twice now. If he wants to be jetpacks, this is what he's got to do, doesn't he?
Well, I think this is coming directly from Joe Girardi. He's having these guys move. He wants to see if these guys can get the job done, and that's why they had Roman Quinn bunt. That's why they're having Scott Kingery bunt as well. If they're not going to be able to consistently get base hits, they're going to have to do the other things to stay in the lineup somehow.
2-0. Gets the job done, moves the runners, hustles down to first. But I'm going to ask either one of you. If you're up at bat and you're getting a 2-0 pitch, how you feel about bunting?
Well, after walking the first two guys lead off the inning, but it's hard to believe we just saw that. I mean, when do you see a bunt anymore?
Hey, I love it. Yeah, no question. And, you know, Skubal has not given up a run the entire spring. He has not given up an earned run so far. And so it's time to get at him.
And now you got the right guy up, right place. I mean, do you four-finger discount here?
No, I don't think so. Not in spring training. I mean, this young man's got to figure out how to get these tough left-handers.
I understand. If this is regular season, you might not want to mess with this guy.
I wouldn't walk him to get the Bohm.
Harps.
I would not walk this guy to get the Bohm.
That would be true, too. Bombers can hit a little bit. You like the gold belt?
Not a huge fan.
I went there.
Hey, man, he's got some style now.
If anyone can pull it off, though, it's Bryce Harper. I mean, let's be real.
He can do whatever he wants. Well, you couldn't wear it like that. You couldn't do that back in the day. Had to be exactly team colored, right? Mm-hmm. If you were red, white, and blue, you were red, white, and blue of everything.
No, and I think the league is actually trying to let guys be a little bit more themselves and a little bit more individual. And listen, that's good for the game. I think that, if these guys be themselves.
I think the team is allowed, if I'm remembering this correctly, the team is allowed to designate 5 colors per team. So that's why Bryce was able to wear the green spikes years ago when he was able, because green is one of the colors that the Phillies designate to be on their uniform.
Really? Is that because of the furry fuzzy guy?
I think so. Yeah.
That's a good point. There's always a reason.
Yeah, that gold belt is something.
Probably creating a little glare for some of the defenders out there.
Look at probably having a beverage. I don't see a beverage there. No beverage, but the green shirts.
They'll get to it.
A little surprising. I'm sure that once they pan over from the pods into the tiki bar, there would probably be a couple beverage going on up there. Skubal struggled with command a little bit this inning.
Pitch number 60 coming up.
3rd inning. We would not be happy campers during the season. Oh, there we go.
Any big plans tonight for St. Patty's Day?
I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
What are your big plans, Ben?
Well, I'm going to take my bride out. It is her birthday, so happy 29th birthday to Megan Patricia McGonigal Davis.
Happy birthday, Megan.
You're making points left and right. Well done.
That was great.
29th again?
Okay, so what's her gift?
I might take her out to supper.
Supper?
Yeah, and then I gotta stop and get her something on the way home.
You got to be kidding me.
No, why?
Harper fouls one off over the.
A little busy, Rick. You know, I got 4 little kids running around everywhere.
364 days you had.
It snuck up on me, okay? It snuck up on me.
I think you were being a little selfish, Ben. I think you realized that it's St. Patty's Day and didn't think about anything else.
He's been busy.
Oh, the bus is just right over the back of him right now.
I did decorate the house for her last night when she went to sleep.
Oh, that's very
She woke
thoughtful.
up this morning and saw it, so that was good.
Now, it's the St. Patty's or the
No,
birthday?
birthday.
Oh, that's
the St. Patty's
very
Day,
lovely.
that was already up.
Any of the kids help?
No, they were already asleep.
All of them?
Yeah. It was like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Would they have helped anyways?
Yeah, they would. They're good with that kind of stuff.
Ruben, so this is Ben's big day. You got your big day coming up.
Yeah. Cinco de Mayo is coming up.
That's a big day for me, too.
Hey, how about this at bat by Bryce Harper? He goes 0-2, and now he is battling. He has the infield in. Yeah.
Good pitch recognition. See him choking up on that bat a little bit even.
I love it.
Just hang something. And then he throws just a pitch that you cannot do anything with.
Well, that was an outstanding breaking ball. I mean, it wasn't very good at bat. That's a tough at bat against a tough left-hander who made some really good pitches on it. But I mean, this final pitch right here, this breaking ball,
sweeping slider,
Late breaker too.
almost like a slurve. I mean, it had some serious bite to it, but you saw almost a no stride right there, and he tried to put it in play, but that's a pretty darn good pitch.
strikeout number 6.
Yeah. Still hasn't given up a run yet in spring.
No, it's going to take Alec Bohm to get the Phils a run.
Now, this is the guy that I would walk in the regular season right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you put him on, and then you got Odubel behind him. Odubel at least batting from that left-hand side. You know, you give yourself an opportunity.
Yeah.
Although I think what happens is, if you're a pitcher out there, especially a young guy, if you walk somebody like Bohm here, then you start thinking, I can't make that one mistake. And once that creeps into your head, guess what happens?
Yeah.
Big mistake. Oh, good cut.
And then,
0-2 now.
and then you really don't have any margin for error either. But and that's why the managers in the major leagues make the big bucks.
Let's pitch at 97.
Watch the swing.
Boom. Look at that balance.
Thought he had it by him, didn't he?
But that swing was just.
Or he thought he was going to hit a country mile.
Yeah.
Well, that was center cut, and he stayed on it pretty good.
I was going to say, I don't think he's going to see that pitch again.
But you look at like his balance. It's such one of the keys to hitting. I mean, he finished his swing and he looked like the trophy on top of a statue on top of a trophy. You know, I mean, it was just perfectly well balanced.
It is, no question, one of the most impressive things about him. He doesn't look like he panics. He stays within his swing at all times.
Saw that one really good.
Oh, yes, he did. And he took a rip at it because he got up in the zone a little bit, and he took a shot at it.
That stayed up. Oh, that could have been a 3-run piece. Odubel waits on deck. Still no score. Bottom of the 3rd. Put me in the game.
You give it up?
Oh, yeah. It's not that I didn't care in the spring. It was just that my fastball didn't get to that point until later on. And then it was like the intensity level heats up that last week of spring.
Sure does. That's why it's going to be really interesting just in the bullpen with all the battles that are going on there and this battle for that center field piece. It's going to get exciting here late.
Well, I think it's already there. I think. Did he hit him?
Nope.
Almost said sack of potatoes.
But that's exactly how you want to take the pitch. You see so many guys opening up because they feel like they have to get there to that fastball, and you're supposed to take it just like that. If you're under control and under balanced, you spin out of the way.
That was not as far in as I thought it was. But yeah, you're right. He spun the right direction. Guess that's going to stay in play. First baseman 3 down. Phils can't score. They had runners in scoring position. They leave 2 out there on a couple walks. Still scoreless down in Clearwater.
Baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Catch the thrill of the Drive Nissan sales event now. Make contact with your local Nissan store today.
There's a look at Bay Care Ballpark. Look at those flags. Tell me you guys wouldn't be chomping at the bit.
Can't believe we don't have a run on the board yet.
Well, nobody's hit one to left. Has there been a ball hit the left field yet? It's blowing out from right to left. Very strong.
Just a couple of pop-ups over there.
Yeah.
Willie Castro, the hitter. 3 home runs this spring. 9 RBIs.
Array up a bit, but just looking for that good fastball.
Good talk, guys.
Lakeland's a good place to hit too. Wind really blows over there as well. Back to a slider.
Never liked playing at Lakeland.
No?
Nah, I felt like I was in the middle of like a deserted area.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. I shouldn't even say that because that was our home field for. I went to Florida Southern College. Those are home field. Here's the 0-2. See, trying to change that eye level again. That one was in a much better spot than the last time he was up. Left it out over the middle of the plate.
Tell you what, he's getting a real good feel for that backdoor slider, that one that the left-handers have to are actually giving up on a little bit. Ooh.
Go get yourself another stick there, Willie. That's a 3-1 put out. Wheeler comes right in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's really good cutting fastball right there, actually. It looked like it. I'm not sure if he's actually trying to cut it or if it just happened naturally, but that's real good life on this.
Definitely trying to come inside. There was no doubt about it. I mean, that ball got in on his hands in a hurry. Just good pitching is what that was. 1-2 pitching on your hands. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. And up and in instead of down, where Castro handled the other one.
Pretty good breaking ball.
Right down the middle for a ball.
Yeah. We need Frank Pulley back. Yeah. God rest his soul. .10 from Wheeler. He really kind of has gotten his pitch count to very manageable now.
Yeah, and that's a good 2-seamer there. It's the thing about usually there's a difference between a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. Not the case for Zach Wheeler. I mean, his velocity's still the same with that 2-seamer.
He's starting to give different looks now, though. If you're a hitter, you got to look for 4 or 5 different things now.
Great sinker, 96.
Oh, that's a shame.
27 hopper up the middle.
That's part of the problem with the shift right there, because they haven't played in the hole, into the 6th hole. They have the shortstop playing well into the 6th hole there, and that's a ground ball right. That should have been just a simple 6-3.
There's the alignment right there. You see, I mean, Williams is over towards third base, obviously opening up that hole. You're not going to get there up the middle.
No.
In fact, Zach was talking about the shifts and
said he didn't like them.
Didn't care for him too much. I mean, obviously, you love them when, and he said this, you love them when they make a play they're not supposed to make, but I know he had a little bit of an issue with that with the Mets organization as well.
Yeah, how about a 5-4-3?
Loving that turbo sinker. Loving it.
That's what I'm talking about. The guy seems to have found himself. Go to the bottom of the 4th. No score.
Gap, but
I have a weird feeling we're going to get to that when the next hitter steps up. Back. NBC Sports Philadelphia. It happened. Base hit.
You just don't like to see it. Whether it's spring training or not, you got a guy.
Phillies manager Joe Girardi. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, Ricky. I'm sure Tom is tuned in. Do you think he's a little nervous right now? I mean, has he heard
sure
of
as
Wally
heck
Pipp?
would be.
He should be.
Only problem is nobody be here to do
my
the
question
postgame.
is, we have pitcher, catcher, and outfielder. Who's in charge?
The pitcher's in charge. The way I look at it, hey,
no one ever.
Got to be the catcher.
Joe,
you know that.
Joe,
Exactly, Joe.
Hey,
Yeah.
Joe, you were a catcher. Didn't you just put down suggestions?
No, we led you to believe that you were in charge, but we were in charge.
I was always told I
You
got
buy in
suggestions.
more when you think you're in charge. Yeah.
Joe, we noticed
Well,
in your
we used
lineup,
to have to use some psychology.
since Odubel's coming
Yes,
up, we
go ahead.
noticed in your lineup, Quinn, Kingery, and Odubel all in there today. Little bit of a contest going on.
Yeah, and we've had to do that because you know you have Hazley and Moniak and Jankowski too. So, I mean, the guys have been competing against each other all spring, and these next 2 weeks are really important.
Despite a long.
Who's the new pitcher?
Jimenez.
Jimenez. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Despite a rather lengthy first inning, top of the first for Zach Wheeler, really settling down, and we're talking in between innings. This two-seamer that he's throwing, it's almost like you could tell the hitter's coming. You're still going to beat it on the ground. He looks great today.
Yeah, and that's when we know that Zach is right. And I've liked his backdoor cutter and his curveball as well. I mean, I think they've been pretty good too. So, yeah, I mean, he gets quick outs. He's efficient. You know, he's had 2 innings where he's only thrown 8 pitches. And this is how you get deep in games. You know, sometimes you got to pitch the contact a little bit. Trust that your stuff's really good. The people behind you are going to make the plays, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, Joe, I know you're not in this, Ruben. I know you're not in the dugout, but did he talk to anybody about making a small adjustment? Because obviously that first inning he couldn't really get into a rhythm, and then he became incredibly efficient after that.
See what happens when I move over to the right seat? You see that? I know that guy told me to move. He ain't in charge anymore.
Did you get smoked right there?
Yeah, it almost hit me.
Disregard the question.
You might want to try the question again, Ruben.
Yeah.
I was just curious whether, and I know you're not in the dugout and you're outside a little bit right there. Was there a discussion at all about anything that he did mechanically, Zach Wheeler, before he went out for the second inning? Because it was clear that he was much sharper with his stuff overall.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to ask Caleb, and if he gave me a second, I could probably do that. But I think sometimes, as we know, sometimes when you got a really good pitcher, if you don't get to them in the first inning, they're hard to get to, right? And I think it just took him some time.
That's
Look at
deep to
Ruben
right.
runs. Ruben runs.
Bobby runs. Touch ball, Odubel.
I love that bat flip, though.
He touched that.
What do you think about that bat
Well,
flip,
I like
Joe?
the way you hit that one. I didn't see it. I was watching the ball. I like the way you hit that one instead of the one he hit at me.
He drove that one. Very nice. Phil's take a 1-0 lead. You know, is that what you're looking? Of course.
Yeah, I follow the ball always, and there's maybe
that
some
was
things that I missed doing that.
Center cut fastball, Joe. Center cut.
Yeah, well, those can go a long ways.
Yeah, yeah, they can.
As Ben has put those fingers down at times, just like I have.
Yep.
That was one of the best swings I think I've ever seen him take.
That was on point. Really good.
And he's done that a few times this spring. How you
Third home run?
Yep. Sure is.
You know, Joe, I know last inning Alec Boehm had a couple good pitches to hit, and he showed a little frustration, but his first at bat, 1-0 changeup, he hits a line drive up the middle. Talk a little bit about his approach and his willingness just to stay with it. You don't see that from a young kid like you do with Alec Boehm all the time.
That's absolutely amazing how disciplined he is, that he does not get out of his approach, and he never tries to do too much. Like, he swung in a pitch out of the zone, the first pitch, and you saw him remind himself, get the ball down, get the ball down, get the ball down. He does not chase a lot. He's very disciplined. He uses the whole field. And one thing that, you know, like, I think so many hitters can learn from, like, Harp got down 0-2, right? And he was just trying to put the ball in play and get that RBI. He was, he was not trying to drive the ball in the gaps. He was trying to put the ball in play and stay in the middle of the field. And I was just as impressed with that at bat as some of the other bats, because I think there's so much to learn from that. Sometimes we say strikeouts don't mean anything. When there's a runner out there, that's the one thing that you don't want to do. And he worked really hard to put the ball in the play, and the kid made some good pitches on it.
Joe, obviously last year the bullpen was, all right, let's not even, I won't even go with a word on that. But it was a hard watch last year. What have you seen this year as a whole out of that bullpen that you have right now that is going to make Phillies fans happy?
I think there's more power and there's more experience is what we have. And we had a lot of experience at the end, after, but for whatever reason, a lot of the guys struggled at the end of the year. And, I think hitting just like pitching can be contagious or vice versa. So we just kind of got in a little rut where it seemed like anything we threw, they found a way to put it in play, get a hit or hit a home run. But, I like the power that we have, and I like the stuff that we have and the different looks that we have. So this is going to be really tough for us to narrow this down to 8 bullpen guys. But that's a good thing.
It's a good problem to have. You're right. How about the closer's role? Your thoughts? We know there's 2 guys.
I really
that
haven't
have
made a decision.
Are you going to before the season ends?
I would like to, and that's something that's not on the top of my mind right now. I think the center field job is, and when you look at trying to figure out who the pieces are before we actually make that move.
Yeah, Joe, I don't know if you want to talk about this, that there's also some roster situations, right? You got to decide who's going to be on the 40-man roster, if you have to designate somebody off the roster, and there's some real tough decisions that have to be made.
Really, really tough decisions. And, I'm sure we're going to meet a number of times to talk about these decisions. And, I was talking about the other day, I think as a team we could use 45 roster spots this year, but I don't think if we petition that we're going to get
no. I don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe after the next CBA. You never know.
JT Realmuto making some progress, Joe?
Yeah, he's actually hit on the field the last couple days. He should get another X-ray here either in the next couple days. And from what we see in that X-ray tells us how to proceed, but we feel pretty good about where he's at.
Good. I got some. Can you explain to some of the people how he can get his at bats, so people know? Because he's not going to obviously got enough games to be played, the A game, so to speak. Can you explain how he can get ready?
So in this camp, obviously, we probably have about 40 pitchers, and with the starters going longer now, there aren't as many innings for all the other people. So they're throwing simulated games because we got to keep them going just in case you have injuries or COVID outbreak. And so there are a lot of simulated games where these guys will throw to hitters, and we play it like it's a game. You don't necessarily have fielders, but if you give up a single, you got to work out of the stretch. I mean, a guy can get 7 or 8 at bats in that game easily. Even if it's only a 3 or 4 inning game, you can get 8 at bats. You can hit twice an inning, or you can hit, home and away. So, and hit every inning. So we'll be able to get him at bats. Building up his catching stamina is what we might have to be a little bit cautious about at the beginning of the season. But, we'll get that in because JT's in great shape. But and he's caught a lot of bullpens. He's done that. But a game is different than catching a bullpen.
Joe, last inning we saw you, Scott Kingery laid down a bunt, first and second, nobody out. Do you envision yourself doing that maybe a little bit more this year? Obviously, it's going to depend on the situation.
Well, we want it to be, obviously we're going to bunt more because we got pitchers hitting, but we want it to be, we're not, these guys can bunt for hits. There's a lot of hits out there too, I believe, that, they have an opportunity. Had he pushed that ball a little harder, we got the base loaded. So, the execution was pretty good. He made sure that, he at least got him over, but he has the capability of getting hit, just like, depending on who makes the team, or Roman can do it, and Odubel can do it. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can do this. And you know, the words that people use now is you want to use all the tools that are in your tool bag. You know, and when you have the ability to get bunts for base hits, that's a tool that you need to use. And for Roman, a lot of times, that's a double. That's not a single.
There's a ball smacked to left. Did that catch the wind? Oh, not quite off the wall.
No, that's big toe, man. That's big toe.
That's the big toe. I tell you what, he does not.
And that's Ruben runs.
He does not miss fastballs. I've seen him do it a lot of times, man. There's not a fastball he does not love. And he jumped all over this high fastball.
Well, you know what he's got? Incredible bat-to-ball skills. And as you see, he gets the barrel of the ball, bat to the ball a lot. Now, his stature sometimes, if he hits him in the air, can get him in trouble.
That ball was chin high, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not afraid.
But so, I mean, realistically, in 3 or 4 days, you can get a lot of at-bats. So it's more the catching stamina that I'm a little bit more worried about. But we were talking about the bunny. You got to use those tools. I mean, you have to, because, you know, like a Roman, I mean, I know he doesn't get credit for it, but a lot of his singles are doubles. So however he gets on, they're doubles.
Right.
And you have to use that tool.
I mean, you're talking about him and Kingery. Those two guys, they get on base, they could wreak havoc. And it seems like we haven't seen that as much from Scotty. And I think, you know, coming up with the big contract and being called jetpacks, I mean, you want to see more of that.
Right, you do. And Ricky, I'll let you talk about it. And I'm not doing the interview here, you guys are. But I mean, think about when your attention is divided, when you're worried about a base runner. The quality of your pitches have a chance to be less. I think sometimes you'll speed up a little bit and your arm doesn't catch up, you leave the ball up, or you're trying to go away and it ends up middle. So there's a lot of bad things that can happen when a pitcher's attention is divided. And that's what we want these guys to do.
I completely agree. I mean, it's scary when you're up there as a pitcher. You know it as a catcher. Come on, you're in that crouch, ready to throw down to second base on every pitch. It's just,
and then you're going to end up maybe calling more fastballs because the ball gets to you quicker.
That's right. And if the pitcher and catcher aren't thinking together,
you rush the throw, and what happens? He's on third.
Yep.
Right.
Or you elevate the fastball right down the middle.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of havoc that these guys can create by just getting on base and dividing that attention of the pitcher and catcher.
But overall, Joe, very happy with the work the guys are getting in down there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate. You know, we haven't had any really rainouts, right? So we haven't had to adjust schedules in a sense, adjust starts for pitchers, and I should knock on wood as we want to stay on schedule here, but we've been really fortunate. And I tell you what, the travel has been so much better. We spend so much less time on a bus, and guys are able to get so much more work in.
Now, does it get a little stale playing just against the same teams every single time out? I mean, this is about the third or fourth time I think I've covered the Detroit Tigers.
Well, we're going to see him 8 times, but I mean, you think about it, you see him every 4 or 5 days is usually what happens. So it doesn't, because it just, you're seeing all the teams. We see the Yankees 8 times, the Toronto 8 times, the Tigers 8 times. So to me, it works out really well.
Do you think this is going to continue when the world normalizes, Joe? You think this is something that they should seriously consider, or no?
I would like it. I think that, baseball has to examine, though, some teams are better draws for some teams. Right. That I think that always comes into attention, the fan attendance. So what does it do to the fan attendance if this happens all the time? I would think that would be a study, but from a player standpoint and a coaching staff standpoint, this is so much better.
See, I was always a fan that interleague play should just be gone again. I thought it was great when they first started when I was playing, because, hey, I'm in the National League. I get to go play at Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park, and then all of a sudden that newness kind of wore off.
And then you saw those lineups.
Yeah. Then I had to go change my diaper when I saw the lineups.
Yeah, I mean, are you still a fan of the interleague play, or not a fan, or in between?
I think that's the end of the inning. Why don't I? No, it's not.
No, it's 2 outs.
I am. I am, but the one thing I would like to see with the way we do the wild card is more of a balanced schedule in the National League, where you don't play one division 19 times, another division 6. That would be my personal preference, because you can get stuck in, you know, a really easy division, a really tough division, and is there an advantage? Sometimes there's an advantage. So to me, I would like to see more that we play each other equally.
Joe, can you do me
think,
one favor? Because you look pretty comfortable down there. Can you?
I'm not moving to my right again.
No. We're up in Philly. Obviously, the weather's not exactly perfect up. Give me a sense of what it feels like to be out in that sun right now. Because you got the tan going on. You're ripped. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a farmer's tan. It's definitely that. But I mean, it's nice today because there's a breeze. The last 2 days have been a little hotter than I like it for spring training, just because I know we're going back to the cold, right? And sometimes with, you know, with the heat, you worry about guys pulling something or something like that. But it's pretty pleasant. I think if you look at all the fans in the stands, they look really happy. We're not complaining about the heat. It's breezy, blowing out the left, a lot of sun. Bad day for pop-ups, Ben.
Yeah.
If you're a catcher. Oh,
don't miss those.
Please don't hit me one. Yeah. But it's really nice.
Yeah, and
so it might have hit the seat next to me. So maybe if I was sitting in the seat, it would have hit me in the back of the head.
Joe, we just took a look at that foul ball. My goodness, that almost took your head off.
That go in between you and Luke Williams?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, when it bounced back, maybe it would have hit me in the seat. So maybe it was a good call if I was in my other seat.
We saved you.
Yeah.
Well, every once in a while, we like to help out the catchers, too.
I definitely, my reaction time was a little late.
There was no reaction. Joe, do you see the DH coming back to the National League anytime soon? I know the CBA's coming up, but, you know.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I just think pitchers are so hard to keep healthy now. And I like the difference in the leagues. But pitchers are so hard to keep healthy now that I just think, is it really a risk that we want to take where aces or number twos aren't out there because, you know, they possibly hurt something running the bases, or they get hit by a pitch and they can't go back out and pitch, or Max Scherzer bunted one off his eye. I think the pitching is really important and is a big part of our game.
But just say they're not athletic enough to swing the bat, Joe.
Well, I don't really want to say that.
Uh-oh, that's a spring training play.
I don't think that went well.
No. So, you know, I'm not sure what happened there. I'll get to the bottom of it. But you guys are so much fun.
It did go well,
Joe, thanks for being on with us. We got to take a break, but we'll be right back. Phils score a couple. They take the lead 2-0. Base hit up the middle. Nice piece of hitting right there. That's what you're talking about, staying inside of the baseball.
Luke Williams, Derek Hall, Ronald Torreyes, and Jeff Mathis. Ruben, your thoughts? Graham at Phillies has a little something for everyone. Get up close and personal with the team and players with fun, original content you won't find anywhere else. Follow at Phillies today. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Welcome to you, Rick.
You guys have
Doing a
no
fine job.
fire going on today. Come on. It's getting near the end of spring training, guys. That's when the fire starts. Okay? The ashes kick around, then the wind kicks it up. It catches some grass. Boom. Now you got a fire.
I'm getting fired up by watching Wheeler, and he's painting right now.
0-2 pitch. How about Blue Bayou? Fastball right down the middle. Good finish.
Catcher Wilson Ramos.
Yeah, he's really sharpened up. I mean, he's using the outside part of plate, inside part of plate. He throws a really live fastball, has a little bit of action there at the end.
I think that
takes
was
it
tipped.
off the barrel.
I think it was tipped at the end, but that ball had some hair on it. Wow. Yeah, Wheeler's really kind of come into his own as the games progressed.
Yeah, really efficient.
I mean, we're talking about his first inning because his pitch count was up high in the first.
Yeah.
When I look up at the scoreboard, there's still a 0 up there.
Yeah, that pitch right there, he literally could throw that pitch 100 times a game, and he might give up 1 run, maybe. I mean, you're not going to do anything with it, nothing. And that 2-seamer that he's throwing now, it's so light. Has such late movement. It's just like, okay, I'm on this pitch, I'm on it, and all of a sudden it moves at the last second. And then you just end up beating it into the ground.
0-2 pitch again. I mean, getting ahead, staying ahead.
Yeah, he's been real efficient, throwing strikes, carving up both sides of the plate. Wow.
That's strike 3. That's Picasso, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a nice fastball, outside corner. Here you go.
And no effort. That's the other thing. It's just like, it's so free and easy.
Look at that spot. I mean, that's, I guess if you're going to go and paint the dots, that's where you want it to be. That's where the dot wants to be.
He's got that finish on his fastball like a Roger Clemens had, or Kurt Schilling had. It's just, it just, the ball, it gets there, you think it's going to plane out, right? You think it's just going to end up being low, but it planes out and it just stays on that plane, and then it's, it's in the mitt, and you're like, wait a minute, it wasn't supposed to do that. And that's the finish you're talking about. They would throw, those two guys in particular, Clemens and Schilling, would throw that fastball, if you're a left-handed hitter, they would throw it on the outside corner, but it looks like it's going to be way outside, and it just ends up being right on that corner. And then you're like, no, that was supposed to be like 6 inches off the plate. They just, the command of those guys had of their fastball, much like Wheeler has today. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I was real impressed. At the end of 2018, DeGrom won his first Cy Young Award. And if you could have matched up DeGrom and Wheeler's output in the second half of that season, that's really, for me, that's when he really came into his own. I mean, he was pitching exactly like he is right now, and he hasn't missed a beat since. He's really thrown the ball well.
See, where is that? I don't care.
If I'm an umpire, I give him that pitch because he's around the strike zone so much.
Oh, absolutely. I could see if a guy's nibbling around the corners, miss, and then you throw that one, it's no good. I mean, Wheeler's been right around there all day, and it's like an appreciation cap, tip of the cap, right? Yeah, you've been around there all day. I give that one to you. Yep. 3-2 count. He only has, what, 3 strikeouts, if I'm not wrong. I don't know what you guys say. I think I have 3 strikeouts, but
I don't know. Right now he's at 12 pitches.
He's had a lot of he's had a lot of 2-strike pitches.
Oh, that's great.
Good night. Wow. That is what we're talking about. Strikes out the side. That one, Harold Castro looking. Looks like he's well on his way to be ready for his opening start.
He didn't let any of his teammates play that inning.
That's right.
He's getting very selfish.
Out of the box. I mean, Joe Girardi obviously wants people
The great Jim Salisbury. And you just see him work up underneath the baseball. And while it was a good impact the early regular season games, that and more on the latest Phillies Talk podcast, brought to you by Team Toyota.
Yeah, I know those guys well. Corey, old Corey and little Jim. Got to take a trip down to Clearwater with Jim. There he is, Julio Teheran. We know him a little bit, don't we?
We sure do, and he's fighting for a spot on this roster right now, believe it or not.
Phillies have seen quite a bit of this guy with the Atlanta Braves.
He's awfully lean right now, doesn't he?
He does.
Pitched for the Angels last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Julio Teheran. Blast from the past.
Signed a one-year deal over there. Didn't fare particularly well.
How about their lineup, the Angels?
Well,
my goodness.
They can swing. I'll tell you what, Ohtani hit a couple of balls.
464, I think it was.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, that Angels lineup, Angels.
Rodon, Trout, Ohtani.
Upton.
They can swing it. They just haven't been able to pitch it.
I got to ask you guys something. As Scott Kingery steps to the plate, takes ball one from Teheran. That's been his problem. Right there, Julio Teheran changing the arm angles constantly. The only guy I've ever seen that could actually, who am I thinking of? Reds, Giants, help me.
Reds, Giants.
Not Uribe. I know who you're talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah,
last name starts with a C, I believe.
Cueto, Johnny Cueto.
Yes.
He's the only guy that I could remember that could constantly change arm angles, like speed of his body, slow down his legs, that could actually get it done. There's other guys that go out there, try to do it, and it just doesn't always work for them.
Well, it worked for a little while for him, and then it's kind of gotten away from it. It's just very difficult. While it is deceptive, it is very, very difficult to be able to throw and to command your fastball.
Because you have a different release point. I mean, that's what all pitchers try and do is continue with that same release point. Everything coming out at the same spot.
And the one thing, I just want to point this out. You saw that last swing by Kingery, trying to pull a ball in the outside part of the plate. Drive to right center field, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the things that is difficult. I mean, these guys are not only trying to get their swings together, but they're battling to try to win a job. And to be able to do that at the same time in spring training, I mean, that's not easy. There's been a lot of expectations on Scott Kingery. I mean, he signed a big contract now. All of a sudden, he's got to be a cornerstone type player, and it hasn't worked out for him over the last couple of years. And you know, he's tinkering with some things. He's trying to do some things. But right now, he's just trying to. It's almost like he's almost trying to just survive right now, and yet still trying to win a job.
You know what? Win a job. That's something, you know, a lot of people haven't really said about him, because he's been kind of a statue here with the Phillies the last few years. Now, you're looking at this right now. You see Odubel go up there and hit one 400 feet to right. And then you're Scott Kingery coming to the plate. What are you thinking? I know you try to be a good teammate, and yeah, but is your mind really thinking that, guys?
Well, I think more than anything else, it's about, you know, he's going to have to just stay with himself and do what he can do, you know, to try to impress the club and to help the club win. And he can't worry about what other people are doing right now. And, hey, they're human beings. It's not an easy thing to deal with.
It's easier said than done, but you still have to stay within yourself.
Bryce Harper stepping up 0 for 2, struck out twice in this ball game.
And Tarek Skubal was able to get him a couple times.
Hector Neris, it looks like the day is going to be over for Zach Wheeler. Hector Neris warming up in the Phillies pen. Pretty impressive start by Wheeler. That's the other thing that I wanted to get to with both of you guys. You come into spring training, all right, you know sometimes you're going to be, your springs are going to be up and down. Always is. I don't care who you are, unless you just have one of these springs where you're out of your mind. What is your target date? Let's say you're 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season, where do you expect yourself percentage-wise at that very point?
2 weeks away.
Like right now, if you're on the Phillies right now, you have 2 weeks.
Right.
Less than 2 weeks, really. Where should you be physically and mentally and ready to go?
Well, I would think that I would be able to catch 7 innings and not feel completely dragging, you know, walking into the clubhouse afterwards. That's what I think. First and foremost, from that standpoint, if I could get through 7 innings where I'm just not dragging my tail back to the clubhouse, you know, I think that would be where I want with 2 weeks to go.
Harper strikes out for a third time.
At that perspective, you know, I'd like to get as many as I could, because I mean, let's face it, I just wasn't a very good offensive player. And I just thought the more at-bats I could get, the better off I would try and be.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I was always trying to fight for a spot on the club. But if I was an everyday player, I would love to be able to step into the box and feel as if I was taking batting practice while I was facing that pitcher that day. In other words, if I was an everyday player, I would want to have that feel that when I step into the box, it's just like taking BP, and I don't have any tension, really relaxed. I know that I'm physically, I got my legs underneath me, and I'm getting my timing. And to me, about a week to go to the season starting, that's where I would want to be if I was an everyday player.
See, I knew like with about 2 weeks left, I would get into a thing where I had about three appearances left, because I would always do it like this. I would get 2 days in the front, then off, then I would pitch 2 innings. Then I would take 2 days, pitch 1 inning, and then 2 days off, pitch my last inning and go. That's it. But that's when I knew it was time to kick it in gear. And it's kind of interesting. What's his wow. I'm blanking on a big name. Mariano Rivera.
He's easy to forget.
Just say Mo.
No, because we came up like at the same time, and I'll never forget, we had just picked up Greg Jeffries on our team. Man, oh man, if he doesn't go in and drill Jeffries, I come in the next. We're both on our 2-inning day. I have to come in and drill their first guy, which I believe may have been Jeter at the time. So Jeffries goes down, Jeter goes down. He goes back out. He nails the first guy again. So I got to do it again. Almost started a bench clearing brawl with like 2 days left in spring training.
Now you know. That's when you know that you're ready to go.
We were ready to go, both of us. You may have been on that. Were you on that team? 90. It had to be 95.
That was 95. I was there the next year, 96.
Yeah, doing the karaoke. Not talking about singing either. That's a good pitch. He's had a couple good pitches to whack at today, and came up with a hit. Actually, it's odd because his swing has gotten longer as the game has progressed, and he had that one very tight swing in his first at bat for the base hit.
I think he's still reeling from that one at bat where he
almost got drilled,
and then he wanted to absolutely crush that other pitch. But interestingly, though, he did
mess with your mind.
He did stay in his swing. I mean, that was the one thing that Joe talked about, is that he stayed in his swing.
Wow.
Nice inning by Tehran right there.
Julio Tehran looked pretty good. He blew away Alec Boehm right there. Phillies still lead 2-0 after 5. But it took a lot of my head getting bashed in every time I went out. for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. There you see it. The one guy you don't see on there, though, how about Zach Wheeler in this one? 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs. I got him for 4 strikeouts, I believe. Oh, he is on there. Sorry. 61 pitches, 45 for strikes. Impressive.
Just absolutely dealt it after that first inning, and I think what Joe Girardi said right. Sometimes if you don't get those guys in the first inning, you're in trouble, and he absolutely started painting. Everything that he was throwing was a strike, using both sides of the plate. Sinker was diving. Fastball, when he was throwing some up in the zone, tremendous life. I mean, he was doing it all today.
Hector Neris comes on. The Phillies, well, do I say closer? Because he kind of still has that title.
He's still the closer until someone takes it away from him.
Still the closer.
How come the closers always throw the 5th inning in spring training?
I used to do that too.
I mean, Trevor Hoffman used to do it in Peoria for Padres. It's always the 5th inning.
So they can go play golf.
Ben, it's the 6th inning.
What's that? It's the 6th inning.
That's probably why closers always pitch 5th.
There you go.
See, Wheeler screwed
But
up.
No,
I
know, you went an extra inning. They weren't planning on that.
I can actually tell you why. And one of the reasons why is because you wanted to have them face some of the very good hitters on the club and not necessarily face. This is why I thought that we used them that early. It's because we wanted to have them face some of the very good hitters in the lineup rather than facing kids who are in AA or in AAA.
The guys with number 89 on their back.
Correct. A little slide piece.
He's been throwing it a lot.
I hated it. I hated facing 89, 90. No number.
Right.
That was danger zone for me because you knew that person up at the plate was looking fastball, and once they got it, they're swing. They don't care.
Yep.
Throw them a break ball, you're going to screw them into the ground.
No trickery there. They're up there hacking.
The B bombers.
But that
we used to call them. These guys that come in the second half of the game, the B bombers. They could put up some runs.
Or if the game got out of hand early.
That was my job for about 10 years.
Did not want to see Ruben come in the game. Strike 3 looked like a split down in the dirt, and now we welcome in special guest. How about the third baseman, Alec Bowe? Alec, how you doing?
Good, guys. How are you?
With Ricky Metallico here, along with Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro. Hey, that one at bat, you got that little brushback pitch. Did that throw you out of whack a little bit?
No. It's just always wakes you up a little bit when they're throwing that hard and they come high and tight on you. But it's no, it's all good.
Alec, your first at bat, you got a 1-0 count to lead off the inning. And I'm putting myself in your shoes. I'm thinking I'm going to launch a ball over the tiki bar. But you stay within yourself. You got an 84-mile-an-hour changeup and hit a line drive back up the middle. You don't see that out of a lot of young hitters, but you have that willingness to stay with your approach and trust it. How great is that for you?
Yeah, I trust it a lot because obviously throughout my career I've done that where I've tried to launch a ball over the fence in a 1-0 count. It never works. So decided to just kind of stay disciplined and you know, no one ever yells at you when you get a hit. So.
Alec, I've been really impressed by the way you've been playing defensively. Is there anything in particular this spring or a feel that you have this spring that you had that did not have that was different from last year as far as your defense is concerned?
Yeah, just a lot more relaxed, really. Slowed down for me, just more confident out there and feeling quicker, getting off the ball better. So, you know, all those things come with repetition. So I think just all the work that, you know, the staff and everybody's done with me and just kind of growing up and, you know, becoming a complete player. It's all part of it.
You know, we saw you take a base earlier in the game with a ball in the dirt. It seems as though, and I think a lot of Philadelphia fans love you for this type of baseball, that you have a very good feel for the fundamentals of the game and the little things and the nuances. How much pride do you take in that?
Well, yeah, you know, I know I'm not Roman Quinn, so I gotta find a base where I can here and there. So yeah, you know, it's those little things where you know, you can pick up a base on a ball in the dirt, because that's really, I mean, all the catchers will tell you that's really hard to do, to knock a ball down right at your feet and pick it up and throw a guy out. So you know, this is as good a time as any to, you know, work on that and hone that in.
And Alec, have you guys been doing that? Are there drills that Paco has been running out there with you guys to do that?
There's little things, yeah, but Paco, yeah, he's he's always in our ear over there, and it seems like he just has a really good feel of when to tell you to look for a dirt ball, and just that feel of the game when breaking pitch in the dirt might be coming here with 2 strikes, and little things like that, and yeah, Paco's always on top of it over there.
I got to ask you, you got about 2 weeks to opening day. How are you starting to feel right now? Are you starting to feel like everything's rolling into shape?
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking around the clubhouse, guys there's an excitement, there's energy, and you can tell it's a fun group. Everybody loves each other, and it's just we come to the field and have fun every day, and you can sense that guys are getting ready, they're getting close, and we're itching to get out there.
Alec, how much have some of the veterans on this ball club really helped you out and made that transition from minor league baseball to the big leagues that much easier for you?
A ton. From the first day, I walked in there and they all, even, guys that aren't here anymore like Jay and Neil, all those guys that have had great careers, been around for a long time, guys I grew up watching, it's nice when, they come up to you and they just make you feel right at home. And from day one, they made me feel like I belonged, and, I was there to help them win, and always those guys, I owe them a ton of credit, because this game's a lot easier, not easy, but it's when you're comfortable and you're just having fun, and those guys made sure that I was doing that last year.
Hey, Alec, it's Ruben again. I just was curious, is there any particular mentor that you had to get you to the point where you're feeling and have this kind of approach? Is there anybody in college or anybody in the Phillies organization? Is this just something you've always done? And is anybody you can name?
Yeah, so, going back to my days at Wichita with, Todd Butler, and we had a really good hitting coach, Brian Walker. And from, day one, I went in there, this big Nebraska kid with, he wanted to pull everything, and, he told me that ain't gonna work. And I found out real quick that it wasn't gonna work, and that's where this whole approach kind of started, and it just kind of grew from there.
Thank you to Alec Bohm. Thanks a lot, Alec.
Thank you, Alec.
Well, we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning now, Ben. 6th inning, Ben. 2-0 Phillies.
Before the last start of spring training, and then back them off in last start.
Is brought to you by your Philadelphia. There it is, 2-0 Phillies, bottom of the 6th.
Really good looking inning by Mr. Neris this last time out, huh?
I would say that's about as impressive as I've seen him. I know he hit a batter on the foot, but just really sharp. Fastball was sharp, split was very good.
He started off, his very first pitch was a slider for a strike.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Look what I got.
Yeah.
just to put something else on the hitter's mind.
Still Julio Teheran. Odubel pops one to center field. Can of corn out there. It's not like his home run swing, was it? Here's the Toyota Camry turning point of the game. Odubel got himself a fastball, boys.
Yeah, 2-2 count, and he did not mess it up on the concourse and on the Route 19. That is your Toyota Camry turning point.
I went deep there.
Did you?
Yeah, but it was in fantasy camp.
Hey, Ricky, they all
start
count.
somewhere.
They
It
all
was
count.
gone. It was gone. Here's Luke Williams. He's 0 for 1 today, a walk and a strikeout. They all have the locks going these days, don't they? The irony of it, you look at Nola, his are cut. Harper's are cut.
Bones
and
are
everybody
cut.
else, Bones is cut, but then everybody else starts bringing it back in. Yeah, somebody didn't get the memo.
Hey, let them be them. I mean, this is, you know, they're letting these guys do whatever they like. We don't have those rules like the Yankees do here in Philadelphia. They're still upholding those rules, correct?
Yeah.
Traditions. Not many of them still in practice.
It depends. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was going on when I was first coming up in the big leagues that would never be allowed anymore.
No.
When I came up in my first year in spring training was '93. But yeah, I got abused. All by Ruben.
Not by me. I was a kinder, gentler soul.
Man, Teheran looks
Yeah, he
excellent.
does. I mean, we've seen some pretty good pitching in this ball game. I mean, you think about it, Skubal was very good early on, the lefty for Detroit. Wheeler, I mean, we were complaining a little bit about his first inning, but once he really kind of settled in, he looked masterful. Let's face it, the one guy the Phillies really need to get going in the right direction, Aaron Nola. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know he's picking up his speed, but to me, no, it's not about his speed for Nola. For me, it's about hitting your spots with movement, right?
I mean, he's got to get all of his pitches going again. I mean, he's basically a 3-pitch pitcher. They talked a little bit about him working on a cutter, and he's talked about that possibility of using a cutter. But
smash down the left field line. Hey, that hit the bunker and came back. They have a play at second.
There.
Oh, wow. I guess they're going to call that a double. It's good hustle, good play by everybody on this one.
Can't look at the replay in spring training, Ricky.
I just could. What? You tried that ball sliced.
nice to see him hitting against the shift right there, right?
Hey, the double to right center is last at bat.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know about that, Ben. Oh, he might have snuck in there.
Did the swim move.
Little swim move. Nonetheless, it's a double. 2-out double. Phil's lead 2-0. That's a game reset I just gave you. Oh, man. Bennett's the bottom of the 6th.
Yes, indeed.
See if we can spread this score out a little bit here. Yeah, as I was saying on Nola, I mean, for him, it's, you know, he's got to be fine with his pitches, and I think it's a matter of him just getting back to the basics and just throwing more consistent strikes.
There's a little thing to the shortstop. That's going to end the inning. Phillies do get a hit. No runs. But they still lead. 2-0 after 6.
Don't miss the chance to recognize an all-star teacher. Nominate the great educator.
Seen a fastball he doesn't like. So.
Yeah, that's true, too. During the 2021 season. Submit your nomination by 5 p.m. on March 19th. Enter now at Phillies.com.
Ricky, any teachers that you remember?
Miss Hellberg.
Miss Hellberg.
Miss Hellberg was my...
What year?
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
Fourth grade, you know, probably taught everything at that point. I don't think we really switched.
Now you move around.
She was my home. I had a crush on her, man. I did. You never had a crush on a teacher? Come on. That like whenever she called on you, you turned red in the class? That was me.
Man.
Oh, yeah, that was bad. Why are you guys laughing at me?
No,
you guys are
interesting.
You know what? I don't know.
I can't really remember if I had a crush on any of my teachers. I'm sure I did at one point.
Guess that happens.
Yeah.
Miss Prygon for me, I think it was.
Prygon?
Yeah, Miss Prygon.
It's interesting. Prygon.
I think she was a French teacher.
Oui, oui. Jose Alvarado, I believe, is on the pitch for the Phillies. Hard-throwing left-hander. Ben, how'd you like to catch this guy?
I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
No, he's the guy that...
Wrong answer.
You know, this ball, when he throws a sinker, sometimes it'll sink, sometimes it'll cut, sometimes it'll just feather the other way. It's just, it's got a mind of its own. And it's high octane.
High octane.
Mathis just set up right down the middle, let the ball do all the work.
I see what you mean. Even if you're setting up inside, it ends up hitting your thumb. How's that one feel?
Not good. Not good at all.
Nope.
I've told Tom the story before, but Matt Thornton, we came out with Seattle. You know, Matty ended up being like a 3-time All-Star with the White Sox. But he came up. Matty was 95 to 100. Look at that. I mean, that's 94. Just looked like a Steve Carlton slider, right? I mean, it did.
Disappearing.
But Matty came up, and I called a sinker, and he threw this nasty cutter, and it got my thumb really badly. So I went out, and then I called it again. It cut again. I went out to the mound. I said, Matty, I'm calling a sinker. He goes, I know. I said, well, why do you throw cutters? He goes, I don't know where it's going. Which made me feel great. That's 99.
A strike.
That is right down the middle.
That is a strike.
I don't know where it missed. Well, it's spring training for everybody.
Yeah, you do know. It's 7th inning. Maybe he's got a little sunstroke out there, a little too much heat. Still a strike.
It was indeed a strike.
Like at Zach Britton, he would not be easy to catch.
Real tough.
You know, it's just.
I would think a guy like Mike Stanton. Did you have him? You ever catch him?
No.
He was kind of like
hit against him.
Cut.
That was no fun.
I'll tell you what. I had my cut. I had my sinker taken away from me. I believe it was my first game in '95. I never threw one before, but I was throwing in the spring. Throwing my first one, I hit Leby right off the kneecap. That was it. Can't throw it without knowing it's coming.
Remember the first. Oh my goodness.
My gracious. That was unfair.
A, B, see you later on that. That is that embarrassing as a hitter?
No.
Or are you just
he just got the best of him. He just threw a 90 pitch before that at 99. And then it goes like that. That's just dirty.
That is pretty filthy. I mean, you're talking about in the left-hander batter's box all the way down to your back foot. Yeah, the chances aren't good to hit that baseball.
But I remember the first really good sinker that I caught. I signed Adam Malvern, and I go to rookie ball, and we had a guy by the name of Matt Clement on our team. Sure. Matt had a great career.
Great.
And
sinker.
I had never really caught a good sinker. And it got to the point where I was kind of like, okay, I call it, I know it's coming, but it had such late movement, I started to panic. Like my hands got really stiff, and I started to clank a few pitches, and I didn't know how really to react or to receive it. And I remember going up to our manager, Mike Basso, and who I had for 3 years in the minors, and he said you just have to relax even more and just be even more subtle with your mitt and how you're able to go after that particular
almost
sinker.
Let it come to you.
Exactly. Just be very subtle. And that's what I had to do. And then I started to have it felt more comfortable catching Matty's sinker, which was unbelievable.
I had a lefty in college when I used to catch in college.
that did not know which direction his pitches were going. I mean, that's the one thing, because there are guys that balls hit up the middle, hits the bag. That's off of Stott and into center field. I guess it's just going to be a base hit. Nobody feels like getting injured on this one. But I mean, how do you deal with a guy like that really has no idea which are there guys like that in the big leagues? I'm sure there are.
Absolutely.
Well, we're looking at one.
So
right
what do
now.
you do? Just hope?
Yeah, you just hope it finds a part of the plate. I mean, that's why, again, you have to just be very subtle back there.
And the other thing is, I think you just have to have, sometimes you just have to have the catcher set up right over the middle of the plate and just let the ball work.
And that's what Mathis is doing right now.
Must be nice. So just you know, throw it down the middle. Jankowski has now moved to right field. Johan Rojas is now in center field, I believe.
That is correct.
Got all kinds of stuff going on here.
Bryson Stott at second base, and I think we've moved Mr. Torreyes to third.
Torreyes is at third. Burling is still left. Don't know if that. We will find out when they come to hit.
Oh, we got it. We got it covered. I think you got it. Riley Green is one of the really bright young hitters for the Detroit Tigers. This kid can really swing the bat, and he's got a little bit of a tough task up against Mr. Alvarado today.
Great pickup, by the way, Alvarado. Talk about a guy, a lefty, you don't mind throwing up there against righties or lefties.
No.
Comes over from Tampa Bay. I mean, when he first blew onto the scene, I mean, this is how hard he was throwing, and then just wasn't able to throw consistent enough strikes. But if he gets to the point where he can do that.
Just had a good look at those lids. Those are pretty sweet lids.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make a phone call. I need
Those
one
are
of those.
sweet lids. Look at that. The bell on it with the Phillies embroidery going in the middle of it. I like that.
Very nice.
Yeah, we never made it there last year.
No,
That's
we
where I
didn't.
got cut off. I thought that was going to be my debut, I think, last 1 year ago today when I was going to make
That's
my
right.
debut on TV.
Nice.
You know, Rick, you can head over to the New Era Team Store and go ahead and get yourself one.
I could do that.
Discounted
Sure, why
rate.
not? I don't get discounted rates. You do.
Just read the promo earlier.
No.
Remember, it was $32.
Maybe there is a discounted rate.
Now it's discounted.
Gator arms.
I have to wait for the Cinco de
Gator
Mayo
arms,
hat.
all right.
Pitchers.
We got to wait for the Cinco de Mayo hat, Ruben. They having fireworks night for that?
For you, there.
Oh, man. 2-2 by Alvarado. Good night. Oh, breaking ball in the inner half. Was he even trying to throw it there?
No.
I didn't think so.
But it doesn't matter when you're throwing 99 and you spin this tight breaker up there. It doesn't really, almost doesn't matter as long as you're throwing it somewhere near the strike zone.
Kind of unfair. I mean, when you have something that you could slow down that much, and then he's also shown that little cut piece on the other side.
I think if you're a righty, though, the last thing you want to do against Alvarado is try and pull him. You know, I mean, that's...
You have to stay in there on everything.
Yeah.
When you have a ball moving both directions, you got to stay in there. Hit the ball where it's pitched, right?
I mean, I would really try and take an approach almost like a softball swing, you know, like trying to get up underneath it because it has so much depth to it.
How do you softball swing a 90?
What I'm just saying, you're trying to elevate a pitch. You know, if you just take your normal swing at it, you're just going to beat it into the ground. That's what he wants you to do. Uh-oh.
Really unblockable pitch, pretty much.
Shouldn't
Great
somebody
hustle
be
by Mathis? Outstanding hustle on his part.
Somebody be yelling hold, hold, hold there.
Yeah, there's really no reason to throw that ball, but I mean, you can't block fastballs, right? You just can't do it. But he made a pretty good darn effort.
The one-handed effort, running away from him.
I mean, just to get his mitt on it.
And that's kind of been the downside on Alvarado is when he is not, throwing it in the strike zone. That's when he's out of rhythm.
You mean when he's off, he's way off?
He can be way off.
Which is probably what's going on here, right? I mean, let's face it, they know so much about everybody nowadays. You pick up that he's a little bit off and go try to straighten things out right away instead of waiting until your next outing, right?
I think that was a little combination with a man on second base. I think they didn't want to get crossed out there. Yeah. I believe this is Garneau, who's now pinch hitting or came into the game for Mr. Ramos.
Tell me he doesn't stand like A-Rod. Not that he swings like A-Rod.
I don't know, but that was 99 straight down. I mean, that went straight down. But you're right, Rick.
How do you get a ball? I was a pitcher for a long time. I used to be able to throw hard, okay, in that sense. I couldn't get my ball to take off straight down.
No, I think for a lot of left-handers, it's just natural movement. His ball comes out of his hand. It just, it might be the way he's gripping it, maybe the angle of his wrist when he releases it.
Does he not look like A-Rod?
A little bit. 100.
Little late.
March 17th. March 17th.
A little tardy on that, though.
Well, you'd say someone like the case of Zach Britton. He said, well, how do you have that great depth on your sinker? He said, and this is no joke, he said, I have really, really tiny hands, and I just grab it to you and I just throw it. It just goes, whatever reason, it just goes down.
Wow.
He said, I have very tiny hands. That's just the way the ball comes out of it.
Well, you look at Mariano Rivera and that cutter he threw. I couldn't throw that cutter, no matter how many. He showed me how to throw it. I couldn't throw it. It's just it's arm whip. It's where you let it go. It's how you finish. It's how your body stands up.
Yeah, it might very well
different.
be his anatomy also. I mean, some people have different types of anatomy. The way his wrist breaks when he releases. Sometimes you just can't duplicate those things.
Right. You know, I learned to throw my curveball when I was younger, watching Dwight Gooden throw it.
It's a pretty good one.
That's a good one because in the minor leagues, I used to do the whole wind-up thing, and I would do that tuck that he did, and it just felt normal when I would let it go. And it turned out pretty well for me. Maybe not as good as his, but I had a good curveball.
Not too many people had as good a breaking ball as Dwight Gooden. Not a bad one to emulate.
No, I tried. That's strike three because that's paint. 99-mile-an-hour little cutting fastball. We go to the bottom of the seventh. 2-0 Phillies. Yeah, that gold belt is something.
Probably creating a little glare for some of the defenders out there.
Look at probably having a beverage. I don't see a beverage.
Have you listened to?
When did you start to feel like more and more comfortable as you threw more?
As well as Coming to America star Michael Blackson. Listen on NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And there he is.
There's the man.
The big fella. With the mask and all. Social distance up in the suite.
Untradeable.
Hey, he's never been traded.
He's
How about that?
untradeable.
He's going nowhere.
Not even Ruben traded him. But a absolutely stunningly gorgeous day down in Clearwater.
Can you believe Joe had the audacity to say it's been a little too warm here the last 2 days? By the way, did anyone
Because there
else
was no
pick up on
breeze.
that? Because there was no breeze.
I heard it.
Unbelievable. Tehran's got some late moves.
He's always had it.
I know,
He's
but
always had a lot of movement.
there's a lot today.
Mathis 0 for 1 in this game. Does have a walk. It came in the 3rd inning, I believe.
Getting some ABs today. He's staying out there quite a long time.
Well, I mean, how many more games is he going to play? You know, what, 3?
Well, I mean, listen, there's no guarantee that JT's going to be back, and they have to make sure that
You get through spring training.
Obviously, Andrew Knapp would be the starter, you would think, and Mathis kind of back him up. But I think it wouldn't be a bad 1-2 punch, considering you could have him on the bench giving signals, you know, to Knapp, helping him out.
Well, there's no question his veteran presence would help if they have to go there. I'm sure the Phillies do not want to have to do that. That's another roster spot for them. And then,
Is that a big pinch right now? Because when you look up and down this lineup, you have a bunch of people that have to go on that 40 man.
It's a huge pinch, and there's some really tough decisions. And Joe talked about it a little bit earlier, but there's some tough decisions to be made. I mean, Brandon Kinsler's on a minor league deal. Rondon's on a minor league deal. There's a bunch of minor league deals. Mathis, obviously, minor league deal. These guys have to be, their contracts have to be purchased and placed on the 40-man roster. And then, I mean, they're already at 40, so they're going to have to.
Yes, there's
going
going to have to be some people taken off. There's going to have to be, well, I guess your bonus would be a 60-day DL guy.
Yeah, but I don't know that they have any.
I think maybe Sir Anthony. They already used it. You're right. I think that could have a lot to do with what happens with the Phillies. Goes down swinging on a little slider. Mathis' second strikeout today.
There's one thing to have the best 26 players go north, but there's also something else to make sure that you have some depth in that organization. And sometimes you have to make the decision that, well, this guy may not have made the best impression, but he still has to make this club because somebody else has options.
I think there's going to be a couple guys that don't look very good in spring training or question marks coming in that might make the team.
There may very well be, and you know, you always as a that's where you have those arguments, right? The coaching staff wants the best 26, and the front office has to, you know, think more long term, and for the good of the club, you know, later on, because opening day is just opening day. That's just one day.
Right.
That's not the rest of the season. There's 162 games.
Well, I'm with you with that. I just see a lot of possible problems with the Phillies. If they want to field the best team that they think, I think there might be some 40-man problems. That made sense, right?
Well, I think there's always going to be a handful of guys you think, you know what, I know this guy's on the 40-man, but is he really going to pan out for us? Do we really project him to be one of our dudes moving forward, you know?
I mean, listen, Matt Joyce is one of those guys. He's here on a minor league deal. He does not have a major league deal. Brad Miller does. He is on a major league deal. But Matt Joyce is a very valuable player for him.
I have an odd. Oh, nice play.
And Jankowski's one of those guys.
He's played very well.
He's had an outstanding spring, and he's played well defensively. He's swinging the bat well. He's played in the major leagues, and so he's a versatile guy. But they may very well benefit from just having him in the minor leagues in case somebody goes down, rather than having him make the club and then having to take him off the roster.
I'm not completely aware of who has options or not. But even still, even if those guys have options, it still leaves you with a question mark, because if you're going to put somebody on the 40-man that's not on it, then you're in trouble again.
And a lot of these guys have outs in their contracts as well. I think most of them are the 24th, which is obviously a week away.
Less than a week away. Yeah.
So, which that would enable them to have another week to catch on with another team. So that's why they have those outs. So maybe if they're not getting a read from the Phillies, then say, you know what, I'm going to take my out. I'm going to take my chances elsewhere.
I took that one on the chin one year. I was told by the Mets that I made the team in 04. Told I made the team. Last day of the thing, they realized that there were Grant Roberts. Yeah. They were like, we can't send him down. And I'm like, you know, you already gave me the situation that I made the team. There's a fly out to left, and that's going to end the 7th. Phil's still clinging to a 2-0 lead. We're right back. Duval waits on deck. Still no score. Bottom of the 3rd. Put me in the
Register your child for the 2021 Phillies Kids Club, presented by Giant.
his second inning, much better than his first. That's what you want to see in the spring.
Yeah, really crisp with this stuff. Very efficient. Visit Phillies.com/kidsclubs to sign up today.
Oh, Mike, there we are again, guys. There we are again. Look at Ben with the 2-seamer down to second
Must
base.
have been a fast runner, otherwise I'd have thrown a 4-seamer.
Ruben, was that 93 by chance with the muscles pumping?
It might have been. I almost looked like I had guns for a second.
Almost.
Whatever happened to those
And
days?
as usual, I look like a psychopath, so what's the difference? But it is a players-only game. It is a players-only game for us today. You guys enjoying it?
Loving it.
You are? Don't, Tom might get mad at you.
Anytime I get to talk about baseball.
Well, I should say T-Max NCAA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. T-Max doing NCAA today.
We do miss him.
Absolutely.
Pro's pro.
And here we go in the top of the 8th. Archie Bradley in, who's vying to be a closer for this ball club. And 2 balls, no strikes. 93 miles an hour.
Some pretty good pitching so far today, and it's nice to see that. It's something that we have not seen out of that bullpen for a little while. And these guys have been throwing well.
You know, I have a question for you. You don't think these guys know that they're in the same game for a reason? Neris and Bradley, you don't think they know that they're on the same field, that, you know, a couple innings apart? And it's the same thing as the center field position.
Well, you may be right, but hey, these guys just have to focus and make their pitches. I mean, I think that both of them had experience, you know, in the back end and pitching in the 9th inning. But hey, this is what competition is all about, man. That's what you love about spring training. You got to compete. That's not a great start for Archie right there.
No, it's a walk to Harold Castro, brings up Jacoby Jones. Jones is 0 for 2 in this game, a strikeout and a fly out to right field, I
Yeah, command was one of those issues I think that got Archie in trouble, particularly when he was in Arizona. Actually pitched very, very well last year, but when he was in Arizona, he was struggling with some of his command.
Yeah, at this point in the spring, you want to see that dissipate. You want to. This is where I really feel like you turn that corner, that you actually feel like you're heading in the right direction to a regular game. And let it be. There's a ball hit hard to second base over a shortstop. That's going to be a 4-6-3 double play. That's more of what you want to see, right?
Gotta love the twin killings, boy. It's not a great pitch, but it's effective. And he gets a very speedy Jacoby Jones, and he can really run.
Well, it does help that he hit this ball extremely hard. You're right, Ruben, that is a hanger. But how the exit velo was enabled them to complete this double play. He hit it so hard.
Eric Haas, the batter for the Detroit Tigers. See, it almost looks like he comes right back out with that pitch, and he looked a lot more like he was just, I'm going to let it go now. A lot more fluid. You know, sometimes it's a little confidence thing because see what I mean? Next two pitches, bang, bang, 0-2.
Totally agree with you. It doesn't matter whether you're 19 years old in your very first spring training or, you know, whether you're 35 years old and have been a seasoned vet. That twin killing.
And good night.
Certainly picked him up. No doubt.
It's unbelievable what it takes to get you on top of your mental game. This is just a good, hard fastball. Lets it go. Big strikeout for Bradley. Phil's still up 2-0. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
Can't believe we don't have a run on the board yet.
Well, nobody's hit one to left. Has there been a ball hit the left field yet? It's blowing out from right to left.
Is presented by the authority of the Phillies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express.
Robbie Grossman, and there's a reason why this guy signed a 2-year deal. I mean, he's.
Well, this game's been a lot about pitching for the Phillies. No runs given up through the first 8 innings. And by the way, the bullpen, gentlemen, has shown up.
Yeah, it's going to be
a little bit different than last year. Go ahead.
It's going to be a big part of this season and success that the Phillies hopefully are going to be able to sustain. Starting pitching and getting that good bullpen, but man, they have looked dynamite today.
Julio Teheran still in this ballgame.
I think he had, it was actually a piggyback game for him, but I think he's going to be pitching in their rotation or at least vying for one of those spots in the rotation. I'm not sure, but I do believe he signed a minor league contract, and he's trying to add to their arsenal in the rotation. So that's why I think he's getting so stretched out. It was kind of a piggyback game for him with Scooble.
Christian Bethancourt getting the at-bat after Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper 0 for 3 in this one. 3 Ks. Be great for hockey.
Not his best day, but he did have a pretty darn. That trick. That trick.
Oh, man.
Good to get him out of the way right now.
It is. Get them all out.
I think he's going to make the club.
Yeah, you think he has a chance?
Going to make the play.
Think he has a chance? Man, we're seeing a lot of late movement with Tehran right now. Ball's getting in on their hands quickly. 1-2 count.
Wow, he's kind of staring. I don't think Tehran looked like that swing very much from Mr. Betancourt.
They played together in Atlanta.
They sure did.
Oh, maybe you're right, Rubes. Oh, here we go.
Saw a little something there.
Nice. Let them know you're there. Right?
Very interesting.
That's a purpose. I'm sorry. Definitely a purpose pitch. I'm going to let you know I'm standing out here. Yeah. There's no surprises here.
Pretty interesting. I think he's going to come back with that little slider away right here, though. Oh, they try to go after him.
Well, he's getting a little bit overly excited.
He overthrew the last two, for sure.
Sure did.
You're going to call that first one an overthrow? I think he threw it exactly where he wanted to.
Maybe.
Then he doesn't believe me, Rube. There's that little cut slider on the outside part. 3-2 count.
Nice long look back into Betancourt again. It's an interesting little battle.
Not a great offensive day for the Phillies.
No, but I'll take pitching and defense over the offense any day, particularly with this club that really needs pitching to establish itself, because this lineup's going to be a good one.
And strike three, a little fastball. Top of the zone, running back at you.
Second baseman Bryson Stott.
Here comes Bryson Stott. Came in to replace Ronald Torres earlier.
I think Torres may have moved the second. I think they flip-flopped.
Yeah, they flip-flopped because he shouldn't be in this batting order, I don't think either. I think they're trying to get him a bat.
I think Stott is playing short as well.
Yeah, that number 3 spot in the lineup has been no good today. You don't want to be in that one.
A lot of bad letters in those boxes.
Too many of the same letter.
Yeah.
I don't think Tehran was very happy with that pitch. That was a pitch he probably wants back, and Stott certainly wants back.
I think he's the type of pitcher that makes a lot of mistakes. He really does, but he gets away with it because he's essentially wild.
Yeah, and he's kind of deceptive because he changes that arm angle a lot, but that's caught up to him over the last couple of years.
So this is what it feels like late in a spring training game, huh?
This is it.
You've never seen one before.
Wholesale changes. No. When I used to play, I was out of there by the 5th inning, on the golf course by the 6th. Well, when we were at Jack Russell, which is downtown Clearwater, there was that golf course right next door we used to always play.
Way to support your teammates, Rick.
That's just a good pitch. Ball
What
comes
a teammate.
off of the hip and over the plate.
What a teammate you are.
Strike three. How about this little flashback? 2013, remember, after Bryce Harper goes deep. Yeah, take that. Now what? Told you. Let's start some problems then, Lou.
I don't mind that. I like the excitement.
Partial
Nothing wrong with that.
players. Well, there's certain guys that like to start fights. They like to throw inside a lot.
Nothing wrong with a little emotion on the field.
I don't know what you mean by that.
It really is a lost art, because we talk about command, and I just don't think pitchers have command like they used to back in the day. And you know, guys could throw it where they wanted. They can't always do that nowadays.
Well, I think they really, like Ruben was talking about with Alvarado, and you were talking about the same thing, is focus down the middle and let the ball move where it will. You know, I think when back in 5-6 years, and then in the past before that, it was stay out of the middle third,
right,
and throw on the other 2/3 up and down.
Well, the art of pitching is still that to me has never changed. I don't know if it's being as emphasized as it is, spin rates and being able to really snap a breaking ball, or to be able to throw a fastball past by someone.
Yeah, but my problem with the spin rate thing is you may have X spin rate one day, but it's going to be Y or Z the next. I mean, you don't always have that same spin rate. It's impossible.
You would think that that is the case. I think ultimately you just have to be able to carve up the strike zone, and that's where you separate yourself as a quality pitcher.
Oh, paint me.
That's exactly what Tehran did over these last 3 or 4 innings.
Good pitch on the outside part of the plate. We go to the 9th, gentlemen. We're headed to the 9th. 2-0 Phillies. Ricky Patalco along with Ben Davis and Ruben Amaro in a scoreless ball game. And now our guest, Phillies manager Joe Girardi. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, Ricky. I'm sure Tom is tuned in. Do you think he's a little nervous right now? I mean, is he heard
sure
all
as
the
heck would be.
He should be.
Only problem is nobody being here to do the post game.
We have pitcher, catcher, and outfielder. Who's in charge?
The pitcher's in charge. The way I look at it,
no one ever.
It's got to be the catcher. You know that.
Joe,
Exactly, Joe.
Hey,
Yeah.
Joe, you were a catcher. Didn't you just put down suggestions?
No, we led you to believe that you were in charge, but we were in charge.
I was always told I got
buy in
suggestions.
more when you think you're in charge. Yeah.
Oh, you were a catcher. Didn't you just put down suggestions?
No, we led you to.
...2021 single game tickets are on sale now. Purchase your tickets for select games at Citizens Bank Park. Limited capacity, 8,800 fans per game. Tickets are going fast. Visit Phillies.com to purchase. Some games are already sold out, including opening day. Get your tickets now, boys. Go get them. Go get them. Hurry up.
Hey, I got to tell you, I think I made a boo-boo. I don't think it's going to be 50% out on the 4th. Mr. Buck has scolded me.
Oh, you're in trouble. Nice.
I thought it was. I thought that was going to be the law change, but I apparently
that's what they want to get to. I know that by a certain point, but I better
read that somewhere. Perhaps I did not read it correctly.
8,800, Ruben. I just said it.
No, I'm talking about that's opening day.
No, that's just
in general.
The tickets in general right now, 8,800.
I stand correct.
So you can tell Dave.
We got it covered.
We got it covered.
Sorry, Bucky.
Oh, we go to the top half, 9th inning. I believe that's David Hale.
And that is Mr. Torkelson, who was one of the most highly touted hitters out of the draft, and I think he's got 1 hit. They think he finally got 1 hit. I'm not sure if that stat is correct, but I believe that Torkelson does have 1 hit this spring.
He's raking. He's really crushing the ball. Oh man,
this kid was a first pick. He can swing it, but he's really struggling right now.
How about coming in and just pounding that pitch in there?
David Hale just made 3 real good pitches.
You know, he got hit around a little bit last year when he got traded over, but I think he's going to have a resurgent year. His stuff is too good.
Joe loves him.
Yeah, his stuff is way too good to get hit.
This is the Princeton product, correct?
Yeah, it's always nice though when like Joe Girardi trusts him, which is why he's here in the first place. But I mean, for Hale, you got to be pretty happy about that. You had him in New York, and then you have another. You could trust your manager because you know him also.
Oh, there's no question about it. When you're coming into a new situation, having the backing and having the comfort of knowing the manager and pitching coach as well at times, but certainly for a pitcher coming in the situation he's coming in, he's got to feel pretty comfortable just being here and having Joe be at the helm.
And he can give Joe some versatility. You know, you can stretch him out. He can give you 3 innings if need be. You can bring him in for just 1 or maybe even 2. But he has that versatility, does David Hale, and that's, I think, what Joe likes so much about him. Hey, you see the skipper?
Fastball, slider, change, combo platter.
Isaac Paredes.
Isaac Paredes.
I heard you say that the other day.
Yeah.
See, I've been listening to you, Rube.
Yeah, well,
I guess I have to.
at least somebody.
It is like part of my job in the long run. Make sure I know what's going on. Oh! Gotcha. Maybe a little payback? You throw out one of mine, I throw out one of yours?
For the Tigers, batting for Nunez in designated hitter position, number 64.
Little reminder. Guess what, Ben?
What's that, Ricky?
Oh, next telecast is Philadelphia, Toronto. That'll be on Saturday, 1 p.m. NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Look forward to
wait a minute. Oh, 3 will be here. So I'll be joining you.
Get to do this again?
I get to do it again. Are you kidding me? They give me a mic. What are they, nuts? Good time for a 6-4-3. What do you say?
Nice call.
Dare I say this? If I was playing, I wouldn't say it, but I'll say it. Nice, clean game so far, defensively. What do you guys think? Don't usually see that in the spring training games.
It's been a very well-pitched game, like you said, and a lot of balls on the ground. A couple double plays.
That's something we haven't talked a lot about today, but the defense has been awfully good. And you know what? That's one of the things that, I mean, the Phillies didn't play great defense last year, and it's something that really has to improve. I mean, if you want to be a championship caliber club, you got to play defense. You got to catch the baseball, and you got to make the plays when the plays are there to be made. And they've done a nice job of that this spring, and that's been pretty impressive.
We heard Rhys Hoskins talk about it. He said they're making an emphasis to be ready for every pitch, and that's something he said. I know it sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, but just preparing that. You know, it's if this ball is hit at me, what am I going to do with it? If it's hit to my left, hit to my right, how many outs are there? These are thoughts that always have to run through your mind, and I think that the mental preparedness of these players is helping them to play clean baseball.
I mean, fundamentals mean something, and if you don't got the fundamentals down, you got a chance to be a good, solid club. And especially with a club that where the pitching is a question mark, you really need to be able to play defense behind it.
I would say about 2-3 years back, I think fundamentals and some baseball IQ was not on this ball club. Now I think guys have learned. It seems like getting to know themselves. Obviously, baseball is a team sport, but there's a lot of I in the ball game. We agree? There's a lot of I. You have to be good for the rest of the team to be good.
Yep.
Yeah. Hale's starting to get a little wild. Dustin Garneau coming up. He's going to be a pinch hitter.
Oh, it's true. I mean, the better you are as an individual, the better off the team's going to be. So the better off you are as an individual, the better off you're going to be as a team.
Right, but I think as the years have progressed in the last 2 years, I think this team has definitely become much more baseball intelligent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm talking fundamentals. Like you were talking about, knowing what you have to do before it's happening.
Students of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that Joe Girardi is emphasizing in his staff. Rob Thompson, all of those guys. I think that they're emphasizing that as part of the importance of having success, and if they keep harping on that day in, day out. I mean, you set the tone in spring training, you harp on that day in and day out, and it just becomes a part of the fabric of the team.
I mean, I could remember in the minor leagues, which aren't as prevalent anymore, and the reason why I say that is because I don't think guys stay down there long enough to get that full range of you can't be that sponge down there if you're not getting all that information, right?
Yeah, it's hurry up baseball now. Guys get signed and they have to, fly them through the organization, and it takes a special group to be able to teach these young players how to play baseball and championship caliber baseball.
This is where you don't want to lose the hitter. All right, you dispose of the first hitter like he's not even there, and all of a sudden you get yourself into a hit batter, then a base on balls. Now all of a sudden you're a little shaky. Go ahead 0-2. This is where you have to finish him off.
Nice play there by Cabral.
Ben, are you coming out to talk to him right here? I know it's spring training, but I mean,
no, I don't think so. Just because he's a veteran guy, he knows what he needs to do. I mean, if you were to do it, it's because of the pitch count. 18 pitches.
Just to slow him down.
Just to slow him down and get some air back into his lungs.
This is a huge pitch right here in this game. Big pitch, big time, big strikeout.
Nice little sinker right there, and then bouncing back. You talked about maybe that was a retaliation when they hit that one batter. You kind of hope that didn't get him out of rhythm.
This is good, just late movement. Yep. I mean, it's that simple. I think he's probably the most simplest of pitchers on the team. Use your movement to the best of your ability, right?
That's it.
So 2 out. Riley Green, the hitter, top of the 9th, fills up 2-0. That should do it. Ground ball to short. Stott steps on the bag and it fills. 2-0 win in this one. But I mean, what could you ask for? That bullpen was outstanding. Hale finishing it out here in the 9th inning. Thoughts on the bullpen, Ruben?
Yeah, I mean, the guys threw the ball very, very well. There was a couple of hiccups in there, but they came back and made pitches. A couple of big ground ball, double play outs. Guys generally throwing strikes and getting through the inning. It was nice to see Wheeler get through that first inning and become really, really, really efficient.
And our Chevrolet player of the game, Zach Wheeler. How about 5 very strong innings from Wheeler? Had a high pitch count in the first inning, then settled down. Ben?
Yeah, 61 pitches, 45 strikes, and the sinker was unbelievable. Inducing double play here, just really good. Did mix in his other off-speed pitches as well, but he was just really, really sharp. Not a ton of effort, but the ball exploding out of his hand today. He was dotting that fastball as the game went on, and I think if you're Joe Girardi and Caleb Gotham, you have to be extremely happy with Zach Wheeler, who is your Chevrolet player of the game.
Outstanding performance from the Phillies pitching. We'll be back with a full wrap right after this.